Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wissman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today. Again, I hope you enjoyed last week and we've had a wild run lately. So
it's really getting so much better over and over.
It's just crazy. Yeah, it's really wild. We've really figured out how to do the show. It only took us. No, I'm just kidding. It's just a good run of stuff going on right now, and it's great shit. And what we're going to do this week also, it's episode, I don't know if you've noticed this, if you listen to both shows, it is episode 218 on Crime and Sports. This week's Small Town Murder is episode 182.
Oh.
So that equals 400 total episodes.
You did the math.
So 400 we've gotten to. So what we're going to do here at the top, we just want to do a little, this is like listener appreciation week, and we have just a crazy bonkers batshit story as a reward for you guys, because it's so nuts. I've been saving it as a reward.
Good.
And we have it here, just one of the crazier son of a bitches that we've come across ever. So this is going to be listener appreciation week. Never mind Apple reviews and Patreon and all that. You guys know what that stuff is. If you want to do it, do it. Thank you for all that. But we're not going to pitch all that right now and follow us and do all that crap, whatever. But we're just going to take this couple minutes to thank you guys for being with us now for 4.5 years of Crime and Sports, which is insane. And you've heard some wild stories. We've heard everything from, child molesting wrestlers,
jewel thieves
to multiple murderers. It's really run the gamut. We're running out of things to say that's never happened, but we've never heard a guy do that before.
There are a few crimes they haven't committed.
That's what I mean. They've committed them all, and you guys have been with us through all of them, and we just want to say thank you for hanging out with us, for being here with us, and 99.9% of you guys are and that's not even a joke, seriously, are absolutely the most amazing. You guys support us on social media. You tell your friends. You do everything that we can.
And you go to bat for us.
You go to bat for us. Yeah. If people come and attack us, you guys come to our defense, and we really, really appreciate everything. Yeah. I mean, the 0.1%, I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
Some people are just assholes, and
That's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's just not a thing. You guys can't help that, obviously. You can't help some asshole listening and who the hell knows somewhere. You don't know. What are you supposed to do?
Right.
Police each other? No.
Fly somewhere?
No. Obviously not. So we just want to say to the people, to the 99.9% of the people who deserve a thank you, thank you so much.
And really, it's probably you. Just by those
if you're
numbers,
listening,
it's probably
you're probably
you.
the boy. Obviously, clearly,
we thank you.
You.
We probably do.
Thank you so much, honestly,
There's
for that.
somebody that doesn't deserve it.
No, and they're taking credit for your wonderful,
for all your hard work,
4
years of your blood, sweat, and tears,
and they're taking credit for it. And they're the 0.1. They don't know it though.
There they are.
They never know. All right, you know what? Thank you guys so much, and no pitching, just straight to a crazy episode.
Great.
Let's do this, Jimmy. It's just insane. Let's get on with this. Our fella of the day here is Pedro Ramos is his name. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy. There's been a few Pedro Ramoses, as you might imagine.
It sounds popular.
A couple of ball players, a boxer in the 60s who was a good boxer named Mondo Ramos, who his real name was Pedro Ramos. So he got arrested a bunch of times. So that confused the shit out of me while researching this episode. When I'm like, oh my God, he boxes too? Wait a second. No, because our guy's a baseball player.
Oh.
And we get to mix some very rare things today. Normally it's an era.
Yeah.
It's an era. It's like, okay, it's the 80s.
You can feel what it's really like.
70s craziness, or even like if we do an old school one. But very rarely, for some reason, do these eras mix.
Intertwine.
We never get to hear a story like this one today. We will get to hear this, where there's a bunch of Mickey Mantle Whitey Ford, like 1950s baseball stories mixed with late 70s, early 80s Miami cocaine trafficking syndicates. We never mix those two.
That's rare.
It's just weird. We've got a guy who is bridging many, many things today.
Right.
And that's Pedro Ramos. His birth name, Pedro Ramos Guerra, but that's the mother's name, and now they work it in Cuba. He's from Cuba here. He's got nicknames, and oh boy, does he earn them.
Are they coming deep, too? Lots of them?
Well, there's two names, really, that he's called. One is the Cuban Cowboy.
Yeah,
everybody.
I can see it.
Well, let me show you a picture of him right here. There he is.
Oh, that is indeed
10-gallon hat on.
That's a Cuban Cowboy.
That's a Cuban guy. 10-gallon hat, Western shirt, fucking cigar hanging out of his mouth.
Cuban Caballero.
Yep, he is the Cuban Cowboy, or his alternate name, because when he's in the States, back then everybody would anglicize their name and make it very American sounding. So Pedro sounded very ethnic, whereas Pete didn't. So he'd go by Pete when he was playing ball. So his other name was Pistola Pete.
Is it Pistola or is it Pistolero?
No, it's Pistola Pete.
That's what they called him.
That's like Pistol Pete. Pistola Pete. Because he, in addition to his cowboy outfit, and he wears, by the way, not just the hat, not just the shirt, full
regalia.
Full, head to toe.
Spurs. Cowboy.
And I'm not talking like cowboy, like, good, the bad, and the ugly, like kind of dirty. I'm talking full on, one color with like sparkly pop and shit on it, and like a TV cowboy from the 50s. That's how he dresses, with fucking guns on, 6 shooters and everything.
Dressed like Gene Autry.
Dressed like Gene Autry, except playing in the Bronx.
I love it.
What the fuck is happening?
Man.
And in Washington, D.C.
Great.
Dressed like that.
That's our guy.
That's our guy. So put that in a frame right there. That's where we're starting with.
That guy's not above the board.
He's a character, number one, also. Everything about him, he's a character. He's like the ladies. He's a womanizer. He's got like 4 wives, and he goes through them like crazy.
You mean caricature.
He is. The guy is amazing. He's very flamboyant, like on the mound too. He celebrates and shit. Which back then was rare. Was not normal.
I wonder how he got introduced to the cowboy culture and was like, "That's my shit."
I got it. I got the whole story right here. What do you think? I'm going to not tell you that?
I just want to see a guy from Cuba.
You got
finding this culture and being like, what have I been doing
head to toe, baby? I need a buckle.
Right.
That's what I need. What's wrong with me?
Right.
I haven't been wearing 6 shooters this whole time.
I haven't been wearing near enough cowhide.
This is ridiculous. My turquoise my turquoise count is low right now. I really need to turquoise up a little bit. Just for some pop.
Yeah.
Just for some pop. So he's born April 28th, 1935.
Yeah.
So obviously an older gentleman here. He's born in Pinar del Rio, Cuba.
Okay.
So this is on the west end of Cuba. It's like all the way over toward the west side of Cuba. I found that Tony Olivia, the baseball player, is from there, and also Sendog from Cypress Hill.
No kidding?
Yeah, the one who repeats everything that everyone else says.
I knew that he was a Cuban guy, but I don't think
That's where he's from.
I didn't even know that he was actually from Cuba.
He's from this town, actually. Yeah, that's where he was born. So there's that. He's the one who just repeats. Right. He's that guy who says, Tony Olivia's from there. He'd be like, Tony Olivia from there. Okay. It's the Cuban cowboy. Right. He just shouts some shit in the... Okay, thanks.
So I can just kill him, man.
Yeah. That's what he do. Which is a great job. I want to hire him just to follow me around. See, this is what I need. We need to get very wealthy, Jim.
Yeah. I want to fucking
we need
hype
a bunch
man
of
for
TV shows.
Yeah.
I just want to send dog to hang out with me. And when I go anywhere, just like, I get a Big Mac meal.
Yep.
Big Mac meal. Just I want him to just say,
cheese extra cheese, cheese extra cheese.
Wants extra cheese. I just want him to really just repeat everything. Like, we'll hang out and be buddies, but that'll also pay him a good salary to do that. That's his job.
That's his 401k right there.
Well, I mean, like, he's going to go do appearances and stuff. That's an appearance with me to repeat everything I say for a day. Just walk around to people. And when people are like, what the fuck? And look, I'm just going to be like, what? I don't understand.
And when they get the order wrong, he's there to recite it back again. And be like, this is what you did wrong.
So, what did I order again?
The man said
extra large fries. Like, okay, see, he said I ordered large fries.
My man told you.
Did you hear?
No grease on the bun.
I said it first, and then he repeated it.
And then you repeated it back. How did we get this wrong?
I think my order should be correct. Thank you, Sen Dog.
He agrees.
For your wonderful fucking... See, your assistance. This is what I mean. This is why you're worth every penny.
Right.
You're the best in the business, my friend. Yeah. So he...
Hype man for my order.
For anything.
For everything.
Everything at all. That's what I want. Everything. I just want to pull up, to the bank.
I'm kind of doing it right now.
Just deposit in the check. Deposit that check. Put it in the account. It'd be like, yeah, that's right.
40 cash back.
40 cash back. Man's buying weed. It's 40 cash back.
I love it.
So he is the eldest child of Ramon Ramos, who is his father, and Sofia Guerra, who is his mother. And they were married, had several kids here. Now, little Pete here, as we want to call him, as he calls himself, was known as Pedrito.
Oh.
He's little Pete. Little Pedro. Okay. So he was born out there. He's born in, this is where the tobacco comes from in Cuba, this region.
Really?
So everyone around here is all tobacco farming.
This is where they're rolling cigars.
This is where they're, and I'm going to stop everyone right now because everyone just went, hold on a second.
Yeah.
This is not a Bernard Below situation where I'm going to say a bunch of stereotypical shit and it's not true.
Yeah.
It's all true. This is all true. I'm nipping this shit in the bud because the second I said this is where the cigars come from, I could see Jimmy like, is he going to say that he learned how to hit a baseball with a rolled up cigar or some shit? Like his
first bat.
He didn't have any food. All he smoked, he just smoked his. He got all his nutrition from cigars. So you can tell.
He would stuff a Cuban in his lip.
He just chewed on a wad of tobacco and it gave him nutrients through first playing. This is all real shit, actually here. So I just because I don't want people going. I don't know about
what's
this.
What's the minute point that I got to fast forward to?
Yeah, what's going on here? So he's actually born it's a very, very tiny, tiny village called Corojo. Mm-hmm. It's in the municipality of San Luis, which is inside of Pinar del Rio. So that's the bigger area, but he's born in a tiny, tiny village in here, among tobacco farms.
Got it.
So to go from there to an episode of this is already pretty impressive just to get out of that.
To have any sort of name to be talked about on a podcast where your crimes are storied.
That's what I mean. Or you just had any story, really.
Or are you just a dude that lived near tobacco farms that breaks laws?
And then died.
Right.
No one knew about it.
Also, there's a song called Cuban Pete. Remember The Mask?
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't he go by Cuban Pete?
That's not what
the king of the rumba beat, James.
What they called him.
Yeah.
Just he was the Cuban cowboy. That's why I'm sure he could really get down to a rumba beat as well. I'm not going to put anything past the fucking guy. Let's be honest here.
Wow.
I mean, based on his attire and everything, I feel like he can get down on anything.
It's not far from there. You know
That's what I mean.
That attire compared to what the Mask was dressed
pretty
like.
Close.
Same thing.
Just a Western version, kind of.
A little more Western.
Yeah. So now his father is a tobacco farmer, and he is known as Cold Ramon. Oh. Ramon Frias is what they call him.
His dad is Cold Ramon.
Cold Ramon is his dad, yeah.
Bad man, huh?
So that's kind of, they all... He's known as a kind of a stern guy and a tough guy. He's a tobacco farming, dude, I guess here. So, and his father also was a tobacco farmer. So, I mean, this is like going back and back here. Now, everybody knew him as Pedrito, like I said, little Pedro, and everybody notices that his athletic prowess at an early age. Because in addition to he's a pitcher in baseball, which normally that might not be an athlete, really. Might just be, Look at David Wells. You don't go, well, that's an athlete. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of baseball players you'd look at who are great players that don't exactly look like a specimen of Olympic proportion. Whereas this guy, on the other hand, is one of the fastest guys in the majors as well.
Really?
He races like guys who lead the league in steals. Whenever they play the teams, like he races and the teams all bet on it. Wow. They all bet each other over who's going to win.
Pitcher that can steal.
And he always fucking wins.
It's impressive.
He's a pitcher that gets put in as a pinch runner sometimes.
No
like that's That's how fucking fast he is.
Wow.
Really, like literally one of the top 5 in the league in terms of speed. And he's got power when he hits too. He just hits 155, so he can't hit for shit. Yeah. He just, but he can pop the ball out every once in a while here. Now, he's got 4 siblings that come after him because he's the oldest, like we said here. 3 brothers and a younger sister, Ramona.
Yeah.
It's Ramon and Ramona.
Boy, is he proud of himself.
He really is. He really is, too. Yeah. The father loves himself here. 2 of the younger brothers one of the younger brothers was also named Ramon. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 of them were named Ramon. Why would you name both of your... Okay.
Gary
2 of
Payton
his sons,
did this, James.
2 of his sons are named Ramon.
Wow.
He has 4 sons. Yeah. But 2 of them are named Ramon.
Oh my God.
It's not like George Ford when we just named them all George. 2 are named Ramon, one's Pedro, and one is Cristobal.
Because eventually you just go, fuck it.
I don't know, Cristobal, maybe? By the 4th, he just went to the mother and go, you can name this one.
This one is for you.
You can name him.
Gary Payton named one of his
Cristobal.
sons Gary Payton Jr.
Cristobal.
The other one is Gary Payton II.
Oh,
you can't do that.
No.
That's not how that works.
No, and he would be, by then, at least the 3rd.
Right.
So, he's at least the 3rd Gary Payton by then.
What's going on, Gary?
If he's that's not great at all, man.
Stupid.
Jesus Christ. One of the younger Ramones was named El Gallego, was his nickname.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was a pitcher and a first baseman and pretty good at it. And Cristobal is the only ball player who doesn't play baseball.
Really?
And then the 3rd other brother is named, the nickname they gave him was El Pitcher because he was a good pitcher.
Yeah.
That's very creative.
But the oldest is going to be the pitcher.
No, this is the 3rd sibling. He's the 3rd, so he's like the middle child here. He is El Pitcher.
But the oldest is the one that's really going to do it.
Yeah, Pedro is the one who's going to make it out of here. Pedro is a catcher and a pitcher growing up, which is actually good because you get to kind of know from both sides how to call a game. It helps. You're all in it. And he's a decent hitter, like we said. Not really
get a catcher and a pitcher. You know what I'm saying?
Get a catcher and a pitcher.
They rarely do that.
Both. Wow.
Good for you,
Good
sir.
for you. Wow. You know what? I like a guy with an open mind. So,
I mean, whatever you're up for.
He's pitching, he's catching. So, he played on the scrubland. Okay, see, this is what I mean. He played on like the kind of land, the kind of older tobacco fields that are, all fucked out, I guess.
All the nutrients out of them.
Yeah, all fucked out would be the best way to put it. I don't know. Is that a good way to put it for farmland?
This land's a smidge sloppy.
I know nothing about farming.
Fucked out.
So
good.
when the soil's done, it's all fucked out. That's what they say. It's all fucked out. We can't. Ain't gonna be no more sorghum this year.
Can't even turn it over anymore. We gotta go real deep.
It's all fucked out, boy. I tell you what. It's just. It asked for a sandwich. Other than that, it said don't want nothing. Just fucked out.
It's probably pretty appropriate.
That's. Who knows? Now they played on tobacco scrublands with ball made with a stone lined with wire for stringing tobacco. This is true.
This is what happens.
This is true.
When you lie
I
for
cried
half
wolf.
an hour.
I cried wolf. This is true, though. This is that story, but real, and in Cuba instead of Belgium. But it is. This is absolutely real. I swear to God. I'm not going to say just kidding got you at the end of this shit. They actually made balls with a stone lined with tobacco wire.
Jesus.
And played in the tobacco scrublands. It's like I said, it wouldn't be any more stereotypical if I said he had a giant cigar as his first bat that his dad made him or something. He tempered his
huge Cuban crank. He just used his dick.
He just used it.
They couldn't even find enough tobacco, and they're Why are you wasting the tobacco? We got to sell that. Use your dick.
Use your dick. Don't break the giant cigars. Those are for the tourists. They love those. Right. They put silly hats on, walk around with them. They fucking love a giant cigar.
It's like a huge whaleboat on fucking New Orleans Street. What is that street? Bourbon.
New Orleans Street. You said that. I'm like, is that in a different city?
Is that an attraction?
I don't know. Is that like in D.C.? Is there like a New Orleans Street I don't know about? Or like in Boston somewhere?
What I've met.
I did, but you still confuse me somehow.
It's in Detroit.
So it's, over there in Milwaukee. So that's how he starts playing, like this. So if you can hit a stone lined with wire for stringing tobacco, a baseball probably looks great.
It's probably easy.
Probably super easy. Yeah, that's what I mean. The equipment that helps. He said, quote, "I liked playing baseball since childhood. I used to bunk off to play." So now, at that time, he would go to school, and after he got out of school, his job was to sell cigarettes. So that, like most children, basically this is like Henry Hill or something. This is Goodfellas' origin story. I picture him. Henry got pinched, like with the trunk. How many cottons you need? What? No, it's okay. It's all right.
How funny is that? They bust him, and then he says, "It's all right.
It's all right. You don't get it. It's all right.
How many you need?
How many cottons you need? How many cottons you need?"
So good.
Where'd you get these cigarettes? So anyway,
it's okay.
It's okay. It's all right. I love Tommy sneaking off around the car.
Yeah.
Hendry got pinched. That's my favorite line. Hendry got pinched selling cigarettes.
I can't get over "it's okay" to a cop. It's so good.
It's okay.
So good.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. They're cuffing him. No, don't worry about it.
You don't get it.
Try that next time.
It's all right.
Anyone out there gets arrested, next time you try, no, it's all right. Just try it. It might work.
Who knows?
You never know. The guy might go, "Oh, all right. I don't know. That's cool."
It's all right.
But
he said.
My favorite part of that movie, by the way, Goodfellas, because I just thought of it. I honestly just thought of this last night, actually. It was like popped in my brain. Okay, you know the scene, obviously, it's a very famous scene where they're all sitting around with Tommy's mother.
Yeah.
And it's the middle of the night, and they need a knife to stab Billy Bats, or whatever. So he gets a knife. Yeah, it's a hoof, the hoof, it's paw. It's, what is it? It's a hoof. The hoof. Yeah, you gotta. So anyway, it's a sin.
Yeah.
So I got to leave it there. So when they're all sitting around at dinner, it's obviously one dog going one way, one dog going the other way. That's hilarious. All that shit's hilarious. But the fact that he says, his mother says to her, "Why don't you find a nice girl?"
Yeah.
He goes, "I find a nice one almost every night, Ma." She says, why don't you find a nice girl and settle down? He goes, "I settle down almost every night, but in the morning I'm free. I'm free. I'm going to marry you, Ma. I love you." And while he's doing this, which is hilarious, but De Niro's sitting there, and he totally he just goes, "Why don't you settle down?" But dead serious. "Why don't you settle down? Come on.
What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with you? Like, listen to your mother here. Like, you're here to get a knife because you just, what the fuck are you talking about?
Chopping up a large man in your
What
trunk.
are you talking about? Why don't you settle down? It's the least of his. Why don't you settle down? Come on. What are you doing? I don't know why. That's my favorite. He's so serious when he's, come on. Why don't you settle
He's
down?
committed an act that's going to get him killed in a garage somewhere.
Absolutely.
And you're worried about this?
Why don't you settle down? What's wrong with you? Dead serious. Not even like breaking his balls, like one of those. Just come on. So anyway, yeah,
he's a man in the trunk in the driveway.
Yeah, just
you want me to
starting to move around,
right.
Starting to fucking stir. So he would get off of school, Pedro, and sell cigarettes and coffee in a little box. I guess he'd have this little he'd have a little stand.
Oh, okay, got it.
And he'd sell cigarettes. This, I know it sounds. It's true. It's
ridiculous.
It's just true. I'm sorry.
There's no waffles coming in.
I swear to God, this is true.
Okay.
This would be to help out the household income. It was a very poor area here. As he grew older, he ended up working the tobacco fields as well, as most of the kids did. But when he had any kind of free time, even he'd sneak off for a second from the fields to throw a fucking rock lined with fucking lining or whatever, metal chicken wire.
Right.
He'd practice because he just loved baseball.
Unbelievable.
He loved it. He would listen when he was a kid on the radio. He could pick up World Series games. So he said he listened to the Yankees when he was a kid play, and he listened to all these games when he was a kid. Listened to Joe DiMaggio and all that shit. So he was really into baseball and really wanted to be in the American culture in baseball.
Okay.
To him, baseball represented the American culture.
Got it.
And that's kind of the one little pinhole of anything that got to him was baseball. So to him, that represented everything.
That's wild.
That was America.
So
yeah.
he's trying to filter everything that is America through this little pinhole that is baseball.
This little speaker that comes out. That's the only connection he has to the whole thing. But he's trying to
he's trying to absorb the whole thing through that.
Yeah, and he really gets into it here. Now he really gets good. By the time he's an amateur, he is early teens we're talking about. He's in the Corojo Village Club on their baseball team, and in the Provincial Free League in the early 50s. This is when he's 14, 15, he's playing these games. Then for a club named La Opera, that represented the province, and it was in the National Amateur Athletic Union League. So on the island, he was considered very, very good here. And then at 17, he is found by a scout, Papa Joe Cambria. Yeah. Now, these scouts back then, boy, shady. Now they're shady. Like back then, it doesn't even begin to describe how shady they would be.
Today, and they've been set straight.
Oh, then it's like straight just against the law. Right. There's lots of laws against it and everything else. They're still doing it. But back then, I mean, plus the rules of how to scout and everything were different too. Now there's a system of how they do it, but back then you just go to the islands, and if you find someone, you sign them and they're yours, and that's it. There's no any kind of drafting or any kind of even a purchase process, anything like that.
It's all been fucked out.
It's all been fucked out, just like the fields, babe. So $150 bonus he signs for.
Wow.
$150 signing bonus.
10 years of labor.
Can you imagine that? So that's crazy. That's imagine a baseball player now signing
$150.
Give you $150. You'd be like, and then what? After I pay my phone bill, what am I going to do then? Like,
you'll give me $150 to have this conversation. How's that?
What are you talking about?
Right.
So I get that per cameo message,
and nobody knows who
them.
I am.
Yeah, it's not them, not us. Obviously, we wouldn't do cameo.
No,
so
that's not for me.
No, I don't think so.
Who am I?
No, yeah. What am I, a washed-up sitcom star or something? No. We're trying to ascend, not descend. So in the ascent, and you don't do shit like that. If you see us on there, you'll know we've made a mistake. Things have gone awry.
That is where I apologize to each and every one of you individually for $40 at a time.
That's exactly how that works at that point. So we've done something very wrong.
Made a mistake.
We've made a mistake at that point. We've done something and caused ourselves a great deal of discomfort. So,
and I'd like to tell you how sad I am about it.
No shit. So they sign him, and they're going to bring him to America, which he's never left the island of Cuba. So he's scared shitless and excited as fuck too. He's only 17 when he comes here. It's 1953.
Oh,
think about that.
America at that time.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's awesome, and also the Cubanism at this point was pretty cool right now.
Yeah.
Well, this is I Love Lucy.
Oh yeah.
So like the 50s, it was cool too because like Cuba was like a huge American vacation spot too. That was like they'd go there and you'd live it up and gamble and palm trees, and
Beautiful.
It would be this. It's Miami with casinos down there basically. Is the way they looked at it.
No American dumb laws.
Yeah, so that was a big spot in the 50s before Castro took over, obviously, and also, like I said, I Love Lucy was the biggest show on fucking television at that point in time.
Desi was a huge star.
So people were cool with Cubans. Like they were like, oh yeah, like Desi. Like they were fine with it. Yeah. So it was a very weird racial time. Everybody else is. It was weird, very strange. America's always had a very weird, like nitpicky thing with race. Like this one's okay, but not that one. But then this one, but not this one.
And then they change roles.
Very strange.
Too.
Yeah.
Now
time.
this one's great. Now that one's not.
Yeah, it's
so
weird. So
just the acceptance of the blanket culture.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
Cubans kind of got
that was their sweet spot.
It was their sweet spot. The 50s. Yeah,
great time to be Cuban.
And then in the 60s too, it was okay because people were like. Felt bad because of Castro. So anybody who hated Castro, we were like, great, you're anti-communist. You're on our side. So that's kind of how that worked.
And then we got Pitbull and we're like, fuck them.
Yeah. You know what? Never mind. We were okay with Sendog, and then you came along.
Nobody knows what Dale means. You? No. Fuck this guy.
That's what I thought.
It's going to steal your girl.
He says, quote, I first came to the United States in 1953. I was 17 years old. They put me on a plane to Key West, and then they put me on a bus for 3 days. Jesus Christ.
What?
I get off in this small town, and we start playing ball, and one day I say to someone in Spanish, so is this Texas? And they tell me, this is Tennessee. He didn't even know where the fuck he was.
Wrong direction.
The wrong direction. He had no idea.
He went north, not west.
No clue where he was going.
Wild.
They just said, go get on this bus and go play ball wherever that you get off of it.
3 days.
3 days.
To go from Florida to Tennessee.
An old shitty bus. Roads aren't as good back then, they stop constantly.
A league of their own kind of bus.
That's what I mean. One of those. I'm sure it like broke down. They had to push it up a hill at one point.
It's very hot in there.
Hot, yeah. This is especially in fucking Florida to Tennessee.
Hanging your head out the window.
Oh, that place smells like balls.
Jesus.
The whole bus reeks of balls.
All your luggage on top.
Oh, it's all fucked out.
Probably asking.
Bus is all fucked out. Let me tell you.
That one snuck up on me.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
In my head, I see him begging to go back to Cuba because they got nicer buses, and then in my head, I went, "Hey, bet he's going back to fucked out." That's right.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We said that.
That is very funny.
That's the thing that we're saying now.
That's my kid's going to ask me for seconds tonight at dinner, and I'm going to go, I don't know, son. It's all fucked out.
All fucked out, son. See this plate? It's empty. It's all fucked out.
You're going to cock his head
I'm going to tell your kids. You should always, everybody out there, tell your kids whenever they want more of something that isn't there, just tell them it's all fucked out, kids. Just to see what. You know.
That's great.
I mean, well, I was going to say if they're older, but honestly, even if they're young, because they won't know what it means, so who cares?
They don't get it.
Maybe not from like 8 to 10, because they'll just repeat it all over the place, but after that, they'll get it.
I don't know.
The kids now know what it means.
Mine are 9 and 11.
Oh, perfect.
I say horrible shit to them.
Go ahead. They're in the sweet spot. It's fine.
Their mother says worse.
Yeah. So... He's been told this is Tennessee. He says, quote, I eat at the Rainbow Cafe every day. I order the same thing, pork chops. I haven't eaten a pork chop in 28 years, because that's an interview from later on.
Yeah.
So he ate pork chops every day and then never ate them again, because he fucking hated that he had to eat them every goddamn day.
They're all fucked out.
They're all fucked out on those pork chops. I don't know, too, if, like, that was a lot of times that'll be the only thing he knows how to order. Sometimes that'll happen, where I've heard of that a lot. Spanish guys will come over and literally eat the same thing and they're like, why do you always eat the same thing? And then they'll be like, I don't know how to say anything.
I don't want to try anything else either, because I don't know if I'm going to like it.
Or they would just get whoever they were with would get. Somebody orders something, they just go, I'll take that too. And they didn't know what they were getting, though, because they didn't fucking speak English.
See when it shows up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that was a
but
thing.
At least it's not a pork chop.
Yeah, it's not going to be a pork chop. So that happened a lot, apparently, back then. And the other thing, too, with Cubans in baseball, there's a weird blurry color line in baseball with Cubans, because obviously blacks weren't allowed to play until Jackie Robinson. They were allowed to play. Black people were allowed to play in the late 1800s.
In their own league?
No, they had in the major leagues.
Oh, really?
There was blacks in the major league until... black people until maybe, I think, 1910 or maybe 1900. I know Cap Anson had a lot to do with it because he was an asshole.
Really?
But, there was guys in there, and then it became, there was a new league. The American League came in before a different American League in 1915, I think, or something. And their whole thing was they were trying to get ethnic people to come to the games and things like that. They had a different atmosphere in the games. And so then it changed. So then the major league here decided to not let anybody like that in and keep it super white so they could differentiate themselves. It's very fucking weird.
Wild.
But Cubans were always this strange, like... Get in. If you, it would, depending on your skin tone. That was the thing.
Yeah.
Depending on your skin tone, if you could fly or not with it. And, they would, it's a weird thing. And even some minor league teams back in the day would get black guys and say they were Cuban.
Really?
If they found a light skinned black guy that could play ball, they'd say, you fucking, anybody says anything to you, you say this phrase. If that doesn't line up, you say no comprende. That's it, motherfucker. That's all you know. Literally, they would send them around.
Terrible.
Yeah, that's fucking awful. They'd be going around the South saying no comprende. Just they'd be like, what? So that happened a lot. Fucking, that was a thing that happened. It was really shitty.
As much convincing as Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it was fucking complicated. It sucked back then for all that shit. So, and even in the 50s when black guys were allowed to play, it was still like, there wasn't just, it wasn't like an equal playing field.
No.
It was, every team would have like one or two really good black, like if you were a top tier star, but there was no like bench guys who were black guys in the 50s.
That still put up with so much shit.
Oh, a lot of shit.
Oh boy.
But I mean, you couldn't be a marginal player and be a black player back then. That didn't exist. Like those guys were white guys, and they would, if you were a superstar, if you were Willie Mays or Hank Aaron or something, that's a different story. But you couldn't just be like a 220 hitting middle infielder who's good with the glove. That's you're out. So it was very strange.
That's horrific.
And then some teams waited a long time. I mean, the Red Sox didn't have a black player till 61, I think, or 60.
Is that right?
Fuck yeah. Boston was a pretty racist city back then. But I mean, they didn't have a fucking black player. I think it was 1960.
Jesus.
I think the Yankees waited till Elston Howard even, and that's New York. So Who knows?
Good Lord.
Yeah. So he says, quote, the first town I went to was Morristown, Tennessee, in the Mountain States League. At that time, I could hardly speak English. I don't understand nothing in English then.
Well, good news for you.
Yeah.
They don't speak it either.
They don't speak. Yeah. Don't worry about
Whatever they're speaking, that ain't English.
Hey, don't worry about it.
Forget about it.
He says, I thought when they signed me I was going to Texas. When I got to Morristown, I asked one of the Spanish-speaking guys, and there's that again. There's another one. He says, I thought I was in Texas. All I know is they fly me to Key West and put me in a bus, and I ride for about 3 days with $5 in my pocket. Which sounds crazy. He says, quote, by 1955, I was with the Washington Senators, and I went to Western movies and wore Western clothes. That's when he got here.
Got it.
In the 50s, cowboy shit was huge. Yeah. It was like, if look at the TV ratings in like the 50s and 60s, it's all fucking cowboy shows. That's it.
It's fucking Lone Ranger.
And movies, too. It's all John Wayne movies and those fucking whatever the hell bullshit movies.
God awful.
Yeah. Jesus. So he loved it. He says, quote, I used to go see the same movie 3 or 4 times to help me understand English, which makes sense, I guess, which I would imagine if I was an immigrant in this country, I would put subtitles on and watch TV.
Yeah.
And I would
Today?
try to learn like that. Yeah, which really you don't have to teach your kids to read, by the way.
Netflix is a great fucking...
There's a hint for you. Subtitles. Yeah. Is that not reading a story?
Yeah. And fast.
You know, read-along books? What's that?
You only got time to
You read as
so
someone
much.
else reads it. Yeah. So there you go. That's teach your kids to read like that.
Brilliant.
I'm not serious.
No,
you probably could, but I'm there's probably something for actually interacting with your child. But if you have no time, just throw something on.
Fuck that.
Have them put like Mad Men on with the subtitles. They'll learn a lot. They're like The Wire. Yeah. Give them The Wire with subtitles. I think you'll be amazed at the things that he says, he or she. So, he said, quote, they were cowboy movies. One day, Clint Courtney, who used to be our catcher, he took me in Kansas City to a Western store, and there I bought some Western clothes, hats and pants and boots, everything except the guns. They started calling me the Cuban Cowboy. So this is when it happened, right away, 1955. I don't know if the guy thought it was funny to dress this guy up like that. That's why he took him there. Like, come on.
I think it is.
Hey, you know what? Let's take him to the Western store.
Everything
Look at
but
this
the
fucking
guns,
guy.
James.
He's a Cuban cowboy. Look at him.
They put holsters on this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Everything but the guns.
Oh, he ended up getting the guns. Don't worry. He is Pistola Pete is his name. He's always packing heat.
Jesus.
Always, as we'll talk about here.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
He says, my career in baseball, I guess, I did play more or less like any other ball player. Go out with the girls and have a few drinks, but I never thought I was in any kind of trouble. If I would have stayed in Cuba, who knows what I might have become.
True.
probably
way worse.
Like whatever your dad was, I would assume, if you stayed there at that time.
Unless you run fucking and not want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who knows? You have to go somewhere else. In that town, it was tobacco or nothing.
Tobacco or breaking the law.
That was it. So he was, like I said, he's one of a lot of signings from of Cuban ball players from this time period. They were scouting the Cuban island very hardcore. Cuba has had a tradition of producing amazing ball players. Baseball was around in Cuba pretty much as long as it's been here. It's very as ingrained in their culture as it is in ours. So it's that sort of thing in Cuba. So ball players there, it's not like other countries where they just learned it. Like it's ingrained. Their dad played, their dad's dad played. I mean, fucking Castro was a ball player. You know what I'm saying?
Is that right?
Yeah, Castro was a ball player.
He loved it, huh?
Absolutely. He wanted to, when they did some baseball game, I don't remember when it was, like 1970 or so, they did some ball game with U.S. players went to play Cuban All-Stars in Cuba to try to, like, some diplomatic thing, basically. Castro wanted to play in the game.
Jeez.
Yeah. And they ended up, he wanted to play in the fucking game. Yeah. But they were like, all the Americans were like, no, because I'm not pitching to this guy, because if one slips out of my hand, I fucking plunk him. I'm going to be executed down there.
A war?
So I mean, he's like, I don't want, not a good idea.
Right.
So that's how that went. So yeah, he said that this was, he was one of these guys, and there's a lot of these guys too. There was a few of these guys we'll talk about that came up with him that he kind of knew of from the island. Now he is in Tennessee, knowing no fucking English whatsoever, and he goes 7-6 with a 6.26 ERA in 138 innings, which is fine for a 17-year-old kid who doesn't even know what state he's in.
It's fine for a child playing in actual baseball league.
And literally, they bring him over, and they don't know, like, they just want to, usually American kids, your rookie ball league, they don't really care. Just, it's like you're away from home now, just to show you that. This guy's in another country, in another, he's eating pork chops every day.
Yeah.
He's all fucked out. He's got a lot going on.
He's got the runs.
Got the runs. So 54, he ends up in playing for the Hagerstown Packets.
Jesus.
Oh boy! Before that, it was the Morristown Red Sox and the Kingsport Cherokees and the Hagerstown Packets. He's got a 5.10 ERA in 1954 at fucking 18 years old.
Getting better.
1955, he gets brought up to the Washington Senators.
Wow.
Which you would think that seems early.
A little.
But the Senators are fucking terrible.
Oh.
They are traditionally one of the worst teams in baseball.
Where did they end up going?
Washington, Minnesota, and then we'll talk about it. Don't worry, because it's really weird. They literally left and then got another team of the same name the same year.
Get out of here.
It's fucking weird, yeah.
Why did they?
For some reason, the league really wants Washington to work as a place for baseball, even though it just doesn't fucking work, clearly. I don't know about now, but then... But the old-fashioned, or what they always said about Washington for 50 years, the Washington Senators, was Washington, first in war, first in peace, and last in the American League. That's literally their known thing. Like, completely useless by September. That's their fucking slogan.
Hilarious.
So the 55 Washington Senators are no different from the rest of their franchise here. They're 53-101 as a team, which is not good.
That's awful.
That's awful. 8th in the American League. Their owner, the guy who the stadium's named after, Calvin Griffith, is their goddamn general manager. So that tells you a lot right there.
Owner, general manager, namesake of the stadium.
Yeah, which is most of the teams back then used to be like that. Yeah, the stadium's named after the owner because he built it to stadium, and they're going to run their own fucking club. This was before that became like an expertise thing of baseball. You know what I mean? Baseball general manager is an expertise thing, especially now that there's the salaries the way they are. There's a cap you have to work with. It's a lot of math work in there.
To be that proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Good fuck.
That's wild. So that's happened a lot. These guys were the, captains of industry, damn it.
I guess that makes sense, too, because it's before sponsorship, so you're not getting any money from the naming of the stadium anyway.
No, you name it after yourself.
Just give it to yourself.
Absolutely. Everybody did. That's everybody. Every fucking stadium was either named after the team, the city, or yourself. That was it. No, nothing else. So this team, I mean, I'm looking at it, looking for who's some Hall of Famers or some famous guys, and it is really bleak.
Nothing.
Yeah, one guy named Specs, which is hilarious back then, very 50s nickname, and Camilo Pascal, who was also a Cuban guy who was on this, and they're talked about very much kind of in the same line. They came up around the same time. So Pedro that year, he comes up and he's relief pitching at this point. He'll be a starter later, but he's a relief pitcher. And he says after he came up, quote, "Manager Chuck Dressen has changed my pitching style." He says, he's made me over, so I throw the changeup. I guess I'm a lot better than I was a year ago, and my fastball is going good. He throws like 98 miles an hour, too. He's a fucking blazing fastball, this guy. As an athlete, he's a specimen. I mean, throws 98, runs his ass off. It's pretty fucking impressive here. But he comes in a bunch. He says, quote, "Only Bob Turley and Herb Score are as fast as Ramos." This is the manager. "And I like this boy's control. I wouldn't trade Ramos for 5 Porterfields," because they were comparing him to some other young pitcher.
Got it.
And wouldn't trade him for 5 of that guy. So, only those guys are as fast as Ramos. So he's saying, this manager says he's the 3rd fastest in the league as far as he knows pitching. So this year, he throws 130 innings. He has a 3.88 ERA.
Getting much better.
Which is great. He's 5-11. His wins and losses, don't even look at those because he plays for terrible teams. Right. And he leads the league in losses every year. Really? Just because he's out there.
Yeah, and statistically, he's got the same amount of wins and losses as the entire team, you know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
Percentage-wise, so he's doing it right.
Back then, you'd throw complete games, and if you lost 2-1, it's like you guys got to score more than fucking 1 run here.
I'm doing all I can, guys.
I mean, I pitched 9 innings. That's what I mean.
I held them to 2.
That's a tough luck loss right there.
What are you gonna do?
That says loss on your stat sheet, but it's
I
like,
look
Jesus.
like a piece of shit.
Yeah,
you guys can't hit the fucking ball.
You're fucking embarrassing me. Send dog, tell them. Embarrassing my man. Brought him up from Cuba.
Eventually, Sendog's like, it's exhausting. I can't say the same thing every night. They're embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. The whole thing's embarrassing. So his personality really comes out at this point with the whole Wild West shit and all his cowboy gear. And he's also very handsome and good with the ladies and a smooth talker and, one of those kind of guys. Kind of a continental kind of cat. Yeah. Everybody likes him in a cowboy uniform here. It's so fucking weird, though, that he's got this cowboy outfit and a Spanish accent. It's just odd.
I can't love it enough.
Yeah, he liked he liked the black cowboy outfit.
Yeah,
that was his favorite. He liked the whole black with the different things here.
Johnny De Niro,
lace trim black cowboy duds, as somebody called him here, which is fucking interesting. His idols were the Lone Ranger and Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah,
that's who he loved, and Mickey Mantle. Those are his 3 idols.
Mix them all together.
Mix them together. Here I am.
Carrie Always from fucking Princess Bride.
Perfect. So 56, this is his first full year. He gives up on May 30th, 1956, the most famous home run of Mickey Mantle's career. Really? He gives up a lot of home runs, too, because he throws hard, so it's one of those, if you just get a bat on it, it's going to go.
Yeah.
And he's known to get it up in the zone a little bit too much sometimes, and that's a problem. Mickey Mantle hits 12 career home runs off this guy. I think it's the most he hit off any pitcher, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe he likes Mickey so much, he just serves one up for him.
Well, yeah, it's possible, man. So he hits this home run off, it's in right center field, off the facade. You know the facade in Yankee Stadium at the top, that white shit that goes around it? They said it was like 10 inches from the going out of Yankee Stadium.
Awesome.
Hit off the facade up there. And everybody says, who knows how true it is, but everybody says it was still on the rise at that point. So we don't know. It's still going, basically. It wasn't falling. Right. Definitely. It was like a liner kind of a home run, it was one of those.
Another few feet it had gone.
Another 10 inches, they said it was going over the facade.
Awesome.
So they were, it's very famous home run, this giant thing. If you look it up, there's diagrams of where it hit and how far it would have went.
Really?
People have made a science out of this home run. It's fucking insane. Because it was a shot.
Was there a doink, like a dent up there that was there for a long time?
I don't remember if it's a dent or what, but you can see up. I mean, it's fucking far. It's a shot, man. Yeah. It's a fucking shot.
They should have had him sign that.
Well, yeah. Well, then they destroyed it in the 70s and then destroyed one again. So, and this was up in the top deck of right field, and he always wanted to race Mickey Mantle, because Mickey Mantle back in the day in the 50s, before his knees really were dead and he was bloated on alcohol and shit, was one of the fastest guys in the majors.
Really?
Oh, he was a specimen. In his rookie year, when he blew his knee out on the drainage pipe in center field there,
right.
Before that, he was literally like the fastest guy in the league. They were just as excited about his speed as his fucking power. He was a switch hitting, powerhouse with most amazing speed. He was like the greatest prospect ever at that point they were looking at. And then he blew his knees out, drank too much, and whatever.
I see him with a big fat ass.
Yeah.
I see that guy running.
Well, that's like a Ricky Henderson big fat ass, though. Yeah. That's like muscle is in that ass. That's how he's getting speed. That's thoroughbred ass. Okay. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. That's like when you'd see Ricky Henderson hunker down stealing a base. You're like, Jesus Christ. How does he walk? His thighs rub together. Fucking monstrous thighs on that guy. Jesus. So, he wanted to race Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle always said, first of all, I got nothing to gain by this. Mm-hmm. I'll just look like a dipshit that lost to some schmuck rookie. Yeah. And number two, I'm not going to go get hurt running fucking, my knees are fucked up. I'm not going to fuck them up worse racing you. So that never happened. Ted Williams, he loved. Really? He said that he was told one time to brush back Ted Williams and he refused to do it. And his teammate called him a yellow Cuban.
Wow.
And he said, I'm not yellow, but Ted Williams, I'm not going to brush back Ted Williams. That's
a very cowboy, coward name.
That's what I mean. Awesome. You yellow Cuban?
Right. What are you, yellow?
What are you, yellow? It's the 50s. People actually said that to each other.
Dead ass serious.
So, Ted Williams here, the story we don't know, it's like a legendary story, so who knows how true it is, but there's definitely one time here where he struck out Ted Williams and was so excited about it, he got the ball and rolled it into the dugout to keep so he could get it signed by Ted Williams later.
Really?
So he did. Yeah, he signed it. After the game, he said, he signed my ball and I struck you out on, and he said, all right, give me the goddamn ball and I'll sign it.
That's awesome.
Little bastard. Yeah. So he gave him it, and then apparently a couple weeks later they were playing, and again, another Red Sox, Washington game, and Williams hit a fucking bomb off of him. He said, as he was going up first base, he said, if you can find that son of a bitch, I'll sign that one too. Which is fucking hilarious.
Ted was a dick.
Ted was hilarious. Yeah. He's a crazy, arrogant, lunatic bastard. He's great. He's awesome.
Furious.
He used to, Jim Bouton told stories in Ball 4 about how he used to take batting practice, Ted Williams, because they have BP before the gates open. Like, people watch batting practice, but there's private ones before that.
Plenty before that.
Plenty. Ted Williams goes out, and he would go out and fucking yell and scream while he's hitting. They'd throw him a pitch, and he'd be yelling, I'm Ted fucking Williams hitting the ball. I'm the greatest fucking hitter in the motherfucking world, and limp dick motherfucker can get me the fuck out. No swinging cocksucker's gonna get Ted fucking Williams out of this fucking goddamn game. I'm the best fucking hitter in the fucking planet.
And he's ripping.
He'd do that for 20 minutes, just ripping fucking line drives as he screamed, never shutting the fucking Ted fucking Williams. Know the fuck I am. You take that weak bullshit out of this motherfucker. That was the way he got himself jacked up.
I'll bet he's still doing that.
Talking shit for 20 minutes.
Welded to a StarKist.
I'm sure he is.
In Scottsdale right
Yeah. He probably is.
Breath smells like somebody's tuna fish lunch.
That's what I'd like this thing next to him. Just, I'm Ted fucking Williams.
And the mouth just going.
Yeah, I'm Ted fucking Williams. That's the kind of guy he was.
Awesome.
He's a crazy guy. He went to war twice. Ted
Did
Williams.
He really?
Twice. World War II.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I'll go back for Korea. What
How
the fuck?
That?
Went because he was a pilot.
Yeah.
So he went back. I'll do some more bombing. And he did bombing runs. He didn't go and like play on the fucking USO team, baseball team. He was doing fucking fighter pilot shit.
That's wild.
Which is crazy. Twice. Mm-hmm. So when you look at his numbers, remember, went to war twice also.
Also a back-to-back hero.
Yeah. Pretty wild shit there. So anyway, that's a good little story there. Anyway, 56, his ERA is a little worse, 5.27. He has a 12-10 record, so that's good. 152 innings. He's always an inning eater, Pedro Ramos. Yeah. Always eating innings. He's a guy who really just
goes a long distance.
He can take the load. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's never tired.
Okay.
He can take it, Jimmy. He's all fucked out. He's never fucked out.
Pitcher and a catcher.
He can always take the load, Jimmy, because he's a pitcher and a catcher, so he's never fucked out.
Right.
He takes loads. It's perfect. He can handle it.
Good fuck.
So, 1957 Washington season, they're terrible. They win like 55 games every year. They're fucking awful. He pitches 231 innings this year, which is a pretty hefty amount. 4.79 ERA, 12-16. Yeah. Loves Mickey Mantle. He says, quote, there was the time he got mad at me because they order me to knock him down and to hit him. He said, that's the way we used to play. Today, it's a little more Mickey Mouse. That was a Saturday. Sunday, during batting practice, he saw me running, and he said, you hit me. I said, well, Mickey, your pitcher was knocking my guys down, and they were scaring my horses. That's some he's using like cowboy terminology. They're scaring my horses, Mick. They're like, aren't you from Cuba? What the fuck are you talking about? Right. Quote, so I got ordered to stop that by knocking down the bad horse on the other side. He talks like he's like on Bonanza.
What in tarnation,
the
Mickey?
Fuck are you talking about? Listen, Hoss. Let me ask you something.
What the shit?
So Pete says, quote, he said, don't worry, Pete. I'm going to bunt one ball back to first base, and when you cover the first base, I'm going to open your chest like a fucking fish.
Oh, my God.
I said, well, Mickey, you'll get a base hit because I ain't going to be there. That's what guys used to do back in the day.
That's a horrifying threat.
That was just what they used to do, though. That back in the day, if a guy was being a little too cute, brushing you back, as a hitter, you have no recourse other than hitting a home run, but you have no, like, I can't hurt you physically. Right. The only thing you can do is bunt the ball in a place where the pitcher's got to pick it up, which is right up the first baseline where you pass him, and as you do, you fucking blast him, and that's what the guys used to do a lot.
Open your chest like a trout.
Like a trout.
Unbelievable.
That's how, but that's how the guys used to get retaliation back in the day, was to do that, and they'd blast the pitcher. So the pitcher, if he knew that he was doing that, he might just give up the hit and kind of be a little slow to get to that ball.
That's a brave fucking motion, though, because if you do that, then the next guy's like, I'm doing the same thing. We'll all keep doing this all day with base hits and drop them in.
That's what I mean. You could do that, but then also he'll just hit you instead. Well, if you're going to take first anyway, I'll just plunk you. And that's what I mean. We go back and forth forever on it. It's
eventually somebody's going to get drilled here.
Eventually someone's going to try to throw strikes and play a baseball game, because it's not over till outs happen. That's the thing. You can have all the walks and runs and hits and
plunk us
batsmen.
All. We're all going to just walk around these bases.
It's not like football where it's just going to go till the clock runs out. This is, someone's got to be out 27 times on both fucking teams, or 24 and 27 anyway. So the 1958 Senators, 61-93. Their manager's name is Cookie Lavagetto, which is fantastic.
Sounds like a dessert.
Cookie. Yeah. That's great. It's a fat old guinea right there. Cookie Lavagetto.
Can I interest you guys in a Cookie Lavagetto?
Hey, I got cookie. It's a Lavagetto cookie. Right. It's very nice. It's got the, the cream on the inside. You're going to like it.
Sounds like one with, like,
little
chocolate
sprinkles
overflowing.
Yeah. It sounds like when you go to, like, an Italian bakery and you order shit. I'll get the, get the sfogliatelle. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get the Lavagetto. Let me get one of these.
The Cookie Lavagetto?
Let me get 3 cannolis and a Lavagetto. All right. Thank you. Very good.
Perfect.
So, they're a terrible team. By the way, they're dead last in the league in both their standings and attendance as well.
Really?
They only draw 475,000 fans in fucking 81 games.
For the season.
For the season, which is just terrible. That is just god-awful.
Wow.
Awful. Apparently also this stadium was in a really shitty neighborhood as well.
That'll do it.
That was pretty frightening to go to, from what I understand. So 1958 season, he leads the league, Pedro does, in losses, which is not really what you want to do.
No.
Leads the league in losses, earned runs, and home runs allowed. So that's not terrific. He has a 4.23 ERA. Yeah. He throws 259 innings, so he's out there a lot, man. Taking the load.
Yeah.
277 hits. He's 14-18. Gives up 38 home runs that year.
Jesus.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
58, he plays down. He does this a few times. Goes down to play in the Cuban Winter League.
Really?
Yeah, he likes to go down there and play in the winter.
Brush
and
up on it?
Yeah, just hang out. A lot of guys like to do that, especially the Cuban guys.
If that's where they're from.
Yeah, down there he's 6-13 in 190 innings. Okay. You'd never let a pitcher down. A young prospect go throw 190 innings over the winter.
Head on back down
Holy
there
shit.
where you can disappear.
Yeah, well, Jesus, it's just that many innings. That's a fucking season's worth of innings.
You
just
either
ruin
disappear
your arm.
or you work yourself to death.
Yeah,
over
one
the
of
next
the two.
3 months.
Fuck yeah. So 1959, back with Washington. Spring training, he has a conversation with a reporter, and he says that at this point, the reporter had heard that the Yankees were trying to trade for him. So he said there'd been some talk about it, and he knew it. Pedro knew about it. So he said, this is the reporter talking, when he spotted me in the Senators clubhouse, he asked about his seriousness of the reported Stengel effort, that's Casey Stengel, manager of the Yankees, to trade for him. I replied, Pedro, don't get me involved in this. I know no more about it than you do, but I did hear Casey say that he didn't like your habit of pitching gopher balls, which are home runs. And Ramos said, quote, yes, those home runs. Let me tell you something for sure. If I am with the Yankees, they pay me enough salary, so I tell the Cuban League goodbye, boys. You can get along without me. If I do not pitch in the Cuban League, I do not get tired like all us Cubans do around July 4th. Because they all go down there and pitch a whole season. They're pitching 2 seasons a year. You can't throw 400 innings a year in a calendar year. That's insane on your fucking arm. He says, I am fresh to the end of the American League season, and I win with a club like the Yankees 20 games. So he's saying, you put me there, I'll stop playing Cuban League, and I'll win 20 games with the Yankees. Go ahead and tell Casey Stengel that shit.
Wow,
so
that's a great pitch.
Not a bad pitch to the media there. So he told Pedro, he said that he agreed with him and that the Cuban League season definitely took a lot out of the major leaguers and hurt their records, especially the pitchers. And apparently the Yankees, the Senators wanted a lot for Pedro to go to the Yankees, and the Yankees wouldn't pay what they wanted. They wanted a shitload of money. Right. Griffith was a very cheap son of a bitch. That was he was known for it.
He would get cheap things and then sell them expensive.
He was just cheap. He just wouldn't pay money, basically.
Okay,
so, yeah, he was cheap. If I had it, it's worth a lot. If you have it, it's worth nothing. Yeah. I'm cheap. So that's kind of why nobody wanted to play for him and why his team won 60 fucking games a year.
Yeah.
Because he's cheap as shit. And apparently now, so 59 that season, old Cookie Lavagetto's back at the helm here. He goes 13-19, leads the league in losses again. 4.16 ERA, not too bad, but 233 innings, gives up 30 home runs. Yeah, he's having a hard time. But he does make the All-Star team that year.
Really?
He's an All-Star, baby. Yeah, that year, All-Star. 4.16 if he had a good first half.
Yeah.
Because you don't look at losses. Like I said, you look at ERA, they look at shit like that. And he is an All-Star. For some reason, this year they had 2 All-Star games. Uh-huh. They had a game in July and then a game in August.
Why would you do that?
I don't know why the fuck they did that. I think it was to have one. They had them in each coast because this is right after baseball had moved to California. This was after the Dodgers and Giants moved. So if you had, I think they were trying to kind of bring all the All-Stars there, but still have the traditional back east game. Because the first game was played in Pittsburgh in July, then the second one is played at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. So totally different deal here in August. Some of these, this is crazy. Some of the people on these teams here. I'll just read the lineup and you can count the fucking Hall of Famers.
It's just Cooperstown.
It's, Jerry Walker, Yogi Berra, Pete Runnels, Nellie Fox, Hall of Famer, Frank Malzone, Luis Aparicio, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, and Ted Williams.
Okay.
How about that for an outfield? Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, and Ted Williams. It's not a bad fucking outfield.
You got all their baseball cards. You're retired.
Holy shit. Hoyt, Wilhelm, Early, Wynn back there. The reserves, the bench players for the American League. Elston Howard, fucking Bobby Richardson, Harmon Killebrew, Tony Kubek, Rocky Colavito, Al Kaline, Minnie Minoso. These are Hall of fucking Famers on the bench. National League, Don Drysdale, Stan Musial, Ken Boyer, Ernie Banks, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays.
Awesome.
Holy fuck. Banks, Aaron, and Mays are in the same lineup, for Christ's sake. Holy shit. That's incredible, man. Fucking, to pitch a Johnny Antonelli. Oh. Hey, John A. Vinegar Bend Mizzle? Who the fuck is... There's a man who made this team... All-Star named Vinegar Bend Mizzle. Bend.
B-E-N-D.
Vinegar Bend Mizzle.
Okay.
And Warren Spahn.
I don't believe you.
Vinegar Bend Mizzle. It's there.
Tell me about his rose racket.
No shit.
Tulips?
Tulips. His tulips. I'm dead serious. The reserves, Orlando Cepeda, Frank Robinson, Mazeroski, Eddie Matthews, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. It's fucking crazy, man. So he likes hitting, and they always make fun of him because he hits $150, but he hits home runs sometimes. So he tells everyone he's a great hitter, and they're like, "No, you hit 150.
Right?
You're a shit hitter. You're just fast.
No, you don't hit at all.
No, he swings like crazy. He's at one point he struck out on pitches outside the strike zone 8 straight times." 8 straight times struck out swinging on a bad pitch.
Struck out balls.
8 straight fucking appearances. That's bad. Bad stuff. But he also was a good, like I said, they would pinch run him because he was such a fucking good runner, basically. So that's rare, by the way. You don't really see that often. A pitcher to get brought in to pinch run, usually for injury purposes. They don't want him doing any of that shit.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, in 1959 he raced Richie Ashburn of the Phillies, who is considered one of the fastest guys in the league. He beat him by 8 yards on a 70-yard outfield course. He fucking smoked him.
That's fast.
Yeah, apparently all the players had all bet on it with each other. It was a big wager thing of the day. So he's also fucking crazy. He's never there. His roommate says he's always out carousing. They said, I room with a suitcase, the one guy says. Quote, I was Pedro's roommate in Washington and Minnesota. I did not see him that much. He said that he heard Babe Ruth's former roommate said that he roomed with the Babe's suitcase, and this guy said, that was me, and I roomed with Dave Boswell, crazy kid. Pedro, I roomed with 2 suitcases.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, just suitcases. 1960, he's accused of throwing a spitball. Spitball. Put some shit on it. You can
sit up.
Yeah, that was outlawed in like the late 40s, the spitball. So,
but he's doing it.
A lot of guys did it up until like the 70s. That was a really common thing. Yeah, Gaylord Perry used to do it. Then they brought in. That's when you'd see like, remember Major League, the guy with all the shit all over him. Guys used to do that a lot back then. That was a
gun.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly. So, he called it the Cuban palm ball.
Gross.
They were like, "Well, what pitch is that?" It's the Cuban palm ball. It's a special. Literally, would say it's a special Cuban palm ball that only Cubans can throw. That's why you think it's a spitball. Okay. Like, no, it's a spitball, motherfucker. Yeah. So, the White Sox manager's pissed at him. He said, "Why aren't they throwing him out of the game for this?" He said, "Quote, everybody will be throwing them." If nobody stops this guy there. He said that this one pitch broke about a foot. He goes, this is ridiculous. Pitches don't break like that. He says, quote, I don't blame the pitchers for trying to throw the spitter. I blame the umpires for letting them get away with it.
Right.
This manager. He says that the pitch was really good. He said, quote, but it was a dandy like the ones they used to throw in the old days. Lopez said that Ramos wets his fingers and feigns wiping them on his uniform. It doesn't actually wipe them off
Wipes
here.
His wrist,
he'll do one of those and not actually wipe them off. He says what actually does is he lifts the fingers so they don't touch his uniform. He says that they should get other umpires to watch. He says, quote, it should be the job of the umpires at first and third bases to watch the pitcher. They don't have anything else better to do.
That's disgusting.
What?
I can't believe that's a thing.
Spitball?
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's so vile. To just unload everything into your fucking hand and then...
Only a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Ugh.
Any little something, a speck of dirt will fucking change the trajectory of the ball, especially if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Elston Howard with the Yankees used to do a thing with Whitey Ford where as he would throw it back, he'd hit the ball on the ground.
Oh.
And he'd hit the ball on the ground, it would just give it a little scuff. Just a little scuff, but he'd scrape it on the ground as he did it. Like when you do that as you're catching from your knees, throw it back and he'd throw it and eventually other teams got wise to it and started noticing him doing it. So they said, stop. So then he would do a thing where he would sharpen the metal on one of his shin protectors on the side, one of the clasps. He would sharpen it. So he'd take the ball and just gouge it into that real quick and throw it back to Whitey Ford. And he'd have a fucking cut in the ball to use on it. But he'd just wipe it by that thing. He had it all sharpened up like a razor so he could fucking cut the ball for him.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's just trying to win. That's what guys did. So if you're not cheating, you're not trying was the old baseball thing back then, especially with pitching.
It still happens.
As it does. So July 20th, 1960 is his biggest day ever. He almost throws a no-hitter.
Really?
Has a great day against Detroit. Wonderful. But finally, in the 8th inning, Rocky Colavito hits a ball up the middle off him that just out of the reach of the shortstop.
God damn it.
Yeah, it was tough, man. It was the first pitch of the inning, and Ramos said it was, quote, a 100% fastball, but it was just a little higher than I wanted it. So he said, quote, he could have had it, but it took another long leap instead of a short hop about the fielder. Gave one of those. It took a bad hop, basically. He says if a guy, and the manager of Detroit said, quote, if a guy ever deserved a no-hitter, this guy did. They ended up winning 5-0, Ramos there. He was very excited. He says, they said that he didn't pretend to be unaware. Basically, a lot of players will say, like, I didn't even know I had a no-hitter.
Really?
They'll say, like, yeah, come on.
Fucking scoreboard?
You didn't notice when you went in the dugout, no one would talk to you?
Right.
Did you notice that you were sitting by yourself and no one would talk to you?
They don't want to fuck it up for you?
Yeah. Some guys hate that, too. If they're throwing something, they're like, no, talk to me. Yeah. I need to act like this is normal.
Tell me I'm great.
Yeah, don't fuck my rhythm up here. To tell me, some guys would ask to do that. I think it was David Cohn. I can't remember. One of the Yankee perfect games. It was like, stop sitting down there. I know what I'm doing. Fucking come over here and talk to me and be cool. You're making me more nervous.
Keep me mellow or I'm going to serve one up and we're going to lose this shit.
Fucking lose. He says, quote, I knew it all the time. He says, how can one not know it? no shit. Yeah. When Colavito gets the hit, I figure, so he gets a hit, so now I have to win the ball game. He said, in a way, it's a good thing. You get a little bit of money for a no-hitter, because the teams will usually give you a little bonus or something, but you get a lot if you win 20 games. I would rather win 20 games.
There you go.
Yeah, he's like, let's win 20 and get a good salary here. He says, I don't know what it is, but something seems to happen to pitchers who pitch no-hitters. They just seem to go poof. It is a weird thing. No-hitters have a very strange way of making a pitcher go away for some reason.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. Not perfect games, but no-hitters. Perfect games, a lot of them are thrown by legends, but Koufax and Catfish Hunter and guys like that, but no-hitters get thrown, except for Nolan Ryan. Through 7 of them.
Just happens to be
Nolan Ryan. Yeah. After the game, he said, I feel so good now I could go and pitch 9 more innings. I never threw so good in my life. I was strong all the way. And the manager, Rocky Colavito, Tiger's second baseman, said, quote, Pedro's pitching in this game rates with the best stuff I've ever seen. So at that point, too, he knows Richard Nixon at this point.
Why?
Don't know, because he plays in Washington. Nixon's the vice president. He was Eisenhower's vice president. So he says, quote, when he was vice president, I was already playing for Washington. He says, for some reason or other, one day I say hello to him, and every time, because Nixon used to go to the games, and every time that he'd come to the ballpark, he'd say hello too. In 1959, I pitched the opener, and he sent me a telegram to wish me good luck. So I lost. He sent another telegram and said, you can't win them all. Yeah. So I did the same thing to him. When he ran for president, which was 1960, he lost to Kennedy, I sent him a telegram to wish him good luck. So he lost. So I sent him another one, you can't win them all.
Kids, that's the equivalent of getting tweeted at.
That's exactly. You just got fucking owned on something, form of another, some form of social media. That's pretty.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them, or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Great. Also, while pitching here, he ends up marrying a Cuban beauty queen here.
Yeah.
She was Miss Cuban Carnival of 1961.
Oh, yeah.
Zadia Balbuena.
Oh.
She's tall and gorgeous. They'll end up having a daughter. Well, I know. I can tell by her name.
She sounds hot as fuck.
And apparently she was.
Hell yeah.
Now, they announced after this one game that he's going to be a father. Mm-hmm. He says, quote, I talked to my wife today. She is in Cuba, and this is the first time I know I'm going to be a father, so I have to bear down harder at baseball.
I can't win them all.
Can't win them all. I tried.
Sometimes you leave a kid in there.
Just like the fucking kingpin. I pulled out really early on that one. You never know.
I don't know how they got in there.
I don't know. So he's going to have a kid. He gets this year, he leads the league in losses again. He's 11-18, but he has a 3.45 ERA.
Okay.
So he shouldn't lead the league in losses. That's not fair.
He's doing well.
Yeah, 2.74 ERA. He's He's a Cowboy. He almost threw a no-hitter. He's doing well for himself.
Richard Nixon.
He knows the vice president. He's fucking, he's marrying carnival queens. Grace. This is Grace right here, right?
He's got it all in the bag.
He's got it all. Yeah. God damn it. No one would have thought this would happen. He's only 25 years old, too.
That's awesome.
He's doing great. Problem is, that marriage ends pretty quickly.
Does it?
Yeah, it doesn't last very long. He'll have, don't worry, there'll be many, many more wives.
There are more?
Oh, he's always getting married and getting divorced, and women like him, and he likes women. Let's put it that way.
They love to hate him eventually.
Yeah. So apparently, he one of the things that happened is Jesus Christ, he loved cowboy movies, like we said, and he got a little bit too into them at one point. Because there was apparently there was a road trip here. First of all, he used to wear the cowboy shit everywhere. But he, one time, he is at home with his wife, and he apparently got in a fight with her, and he used his 6-shooters to, both of them, to just empty them and shoot holes in the family television.
What?
Because he didn't like the show that his wife was watching. And he wanted to watch something else, and she said, I want to watch this. So he shot the fucking TV up with both of his guns. Whoa. So she divorced him.
That's a hell of a move.
That's crazy.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Well, I mean, Elvis did it, but this guy, not for no reason.
Two of them, though?
Not two.
That would be awesome.
Was pop, 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 pop. Yeah,
you sit in your chair with 2 guns on you? That's awesome.
I got 2 guns.
Yeah.
One for each of you. That's what he said. You son of a bitch. On a fucking,
awesome.
To a game show. I got two guns, fucking, show of shows. I don't know, think of a show from back then, a game show of some kind. Fucking To Tell the Truth, that was one of them, I know. So
2 guns for Eugene Rayburn.
Yeah. All those shows, by the way, used to be, they were all shot, all those 50s game shows, because I just read this, were all shot in Studio 54, the fucking nightclub.
Really?
That used to be a CBS-owned television studio. That's why they called it Studio 54.
Got it.
Used to be and then when it went out of business and they sold it off in the 60s or something, and that's when they ended up turning it into a nightclub.
Interesting.
So a bunch of corny, shitty early 60s, late 50s game shows were filmed in the same spot where people were just doing cocaine off of teenagers while having sex with them. Fucking raw dog.
All of them.
All of them. Really weird.
People were having cocaine done off their forehead while there was cocks inside them.
Absolutely.
That's unbelievable.
I'm sure that happened.
Where Gene Rayburn used to ask stupid questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen here in about 15 years, Chief. It's going to be gross.
There's going to be awful things in here.
So bad. So 1960, 1961... in terms of Cuba, is when Castro has kind of taken over the country here. So a lot of things change in Cuba, and he does not like it. U.S. breaks off diplomatic relations with Cuba, everything like that. This is also when basically players who were there while all this happened were trying to get out of there and, fucking get away and get back to they're trying to get their families out here. Apparently, Pedro here is not happy at all, mainly because he owns a cigar factory down there.
Oh, no.
Pedro's making cigars at this point.
Yeah.
He'll try to do this his whole life, and he owns a cigar factory down there that he bought with his baseball money, and now he doesn't anymore.
Right.
Once Castro takes over, that is no longer his cigar factory.
That's fucked up.
And he's fucking furious about this shit. He said it was confiscated by the agrarian and economic minded authorities. He said that's the way he put it.
The government.
Yep, and he said that he didn't know what Castro had against him, but it was not made clear what the deal was. Basically, they just took it from him. He says now he has to subsist on just his baseball salary, which is kind of hard when you play for Washington because this guy's a cheap fuck.
And this place sucks.
Man, this place sucks. So the team moves to Minnesota to be the Minnesota Twins.
Really?
In 1961.
That's where they went.
That's where they went. Okay. Now they thought about. They almost went to San Francisco. Actually, there in 1957, when all the teams were kind of seeing who was going to go where, they were courting the Washington to go there, but he decided on Minnesota instead. Decides on Minnesota. And the weird thing is, so the Senators become the Twins. All right. That same year, 61. The MLB expands, and one of their expansion teams is
Washington.
The Washington Senators.
Stupid.
So rather than making the expansion team the Minnesota Twins and keeping Washington, they moved them to Minnesota and fucking put a new team in Washington.
Welcome to the NFL, Cleveland Browns. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid.
Very, very stupid. So, that's how that worked. They're obviously the Senators until 1972 when they moved to Texas and become the Rangers. So, yeah. And then... I
don't think I knew either of those facts.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a fucking weird one. So, first game for the Minnesota Twins here, 1961. Jim Catt, who's an amazing, great ball pitcher for years and years and years. He was on the team. And he says of Pedro, this is day one in the clubhouse, opening day. Quote, Pedro walked in the clubhouse that day in a full cowboy outfit with guns in 2 holsters. He pulled a gun out and was waving it around, and outfielder Bob Allison went nuts, telling him to put it away. Couldn't blame Bob, because with Pedro, those guns probably were loaded.
I'm sure they're real, and I'm sure they've got... Yeah. Wow.
So, can't do that. So, but this game, he ends up, this is the very first game in Twins history, he throws a 6-0 3-hit shutout against the Yankees that day, which is in 61, which is the Maris Mantle... Yeah, they were they were an absolute juggernaut that year.
Shut him out.
He shut him out 6-0 on a 3-hitter, all singles.
That's awesome.
As a matter of fact, too. He said, quote, I got number 1 today. For the first time, I think I'll win 20. Watch me. Okay. Well, the Twins finish, not the Finns twinish, 70 and 90 that year. They do have Harmon Killebrew in the lineup, and also at the end of his career, Billy Martin as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Came over for the 61 season there. So this year though, he does 20 is in his stat sheet, although it's 20 losses, not 20 wins.
Eesh.
For the first time, he gets 20, just 11 wins and 20 losses, about a 3.95 ERA.
Yeah.
So tough luck, basically.
He does 30 games.
He does. Well, actually, he started 34 games, and he gave up 39 home runs as well. So that's quite a lot. 1962, in April, he is traded from the Twins to the Indians for Vic Power and Dick Stigman.
Jeez.
So Power and Dick. Dick Power got traded there. It's better than if his name was Dick Power, I guess. So he goes to the Indians. That team's 80 and 82 that year. Some people in the lineup, they had Tito Francona, who was Terry Francona's father. There they had, who else here? Sudden Sam McDowell. They had Sam McDowell was a 20-game winner who drank himself out of the major leagues, and he is the guy who Sam Malone on Cheers is based after.
Oh, is that right?
It's based on Sudden Sam McDowell. If you look him up, he had a very interesting life. He was a womanizing alcoholic.
20-game winner, and he fucked it. He
drank himself out of the league.
All fucked out.
Yep, all fucked out. Done.
That's
all fucked out, man. Also, Mudcat Grant was on that team, just because his name's Mudcat. I had to say that. That's pretty fucking awesome.
I think that guy plays in old-timer leagues. I swear.
Mudcat?
Yes, I swear.
What about Catfish? I think you're thinking of.
No,
Catfish Hunter.
No, I think it's Mudcat. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe he'd be in his 80s. So
it was maybe 10, 15 years ago that I saw it. I'll bet it was him.
Never know here. So Cleveland in 62, he's 10 and 12, a little better, 3.71 ERA. So I mean his ERA is hanging tight. 1963 Cleveland, he goes 9 and 8 with a 3.12 ERA.
Yeah,
I mean not bad at all. 64, he starts out the year with Cleveland. And Cleveland's just not a great team. They're like a 500 team. But in 1964, September 5th, 1964, in a post-trade deadline deal, the Indians trade him to the Yankees for a player to be named later and $75,000.
He's going to New York.
So he's going to the Yankees in September for the pennant run. This is 64. They're close to the playoffs. This is the last year of the Yankee dynasty. They don't win the World Series this year, but it's the last year. After this is when, remember I talked about in the bonus episode, the Horace Clark years. That's what this is entering.
It's about to be
65 to 75.
To be bad for a long time.
Is the dark years.
Did he play with those two from those two dickheads?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, he played. I know with Fritz Peterson. I don't know if Kekich was there yet, but he definitely played with Fritz. Yeah,
he's on the pitching staff.
Absolutely. Yeah,
this is crazy.
They know each other. So he's traded there. He goes to the Yankees. The Yankees use him as a reliever, and he is fucking lights out when he gets there. I mean, lights out. No one can hit him. He is like, in 13 appearances for the Yankees in relief, he saved 8 games and had a 1.25 ERA.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild. In 21 innings, he struck out 21 batters with 0 walks.
Oh boy, needed a Metallica song.
He needed a fucking reason to pitch.
Yeah.
They end up going on to the World Series and losing to the Cardinals that year in 7 games. Ramos was not allowed to pitch in the World Series because he came over too late in the season, so the league rules wouldn't allow him to pitch in the World Series. This Yankee team is Elston Howard, Joe Pepitone in his fucking wig, Bobby Richardson, Tony Kubek, Clete Boyer, Tom Tresh, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris. So not exactly the old-timey lineup, but still pretty good.
With him, they may have won.
That's what I mean. You don't know. It's a 7-game series. That's what I mean. So a little difference in the end of a couple of games.
Closer? Yeah.
You never know, man.
Wow.
So he has a great year for the Yankees there. Also, Whitey Ford's on the pitching staff, Mel Stottlemyre, Jim Bouton with the Ball 4 book here. He makes $21,500 that year.
A mint.
Mint, I looked it up. In inflation-wise, in 2020, that would be $175,956.68.
That's pretty decent.
It's not great as far as a baseball player, but as far as a salary for a human being, it's damn good.
Pretty good.
Not bad. September 1964, he's quoted in this article because he's known as like a playboy, and at this point he's divorced and he's one of the single guys.
Playboy with $120,000?
He's a back then though, that was hot shit. He had a red convertible.
Really?
He had a red convertible. He was tall, handsome, athletic, fucking 6-shooters, dressed as a cowboy. He got pussy back then. Let me tell you something. Well, 1964, Baseball Digest. This doesn't have a ton to do with him, but it's so interesting. I have to fucking share it with you guys. They have an article called, quote, How to Marry a Ball Player. Okay? And it's literally like a guide for women to marry ball players. How can you find ball players to marry? Okay. All this type of shit.
What are their tips?
It's crazy. They did a survey. By the way, what percentage of major league players do you think are married today? Right now.
It's probably
a third, maybe.
I don't know.
40%.
Well, as many dudes as there are, and there's a lot that are young, you're probably right.
But
I see like the older guys.
Those guys
are all married.
Yeah, when they're
takes a while.
32 or something.
Yeah.
But these,
24 years old, probably a pretty high or low percentage.
In 1964, 83% of the guys were married. 83%. Back then, the guys used to retire when they were 33.
Right.
So I mean, this is all guys in their 20s are all fucking married.
Wow.
All of them. So it's crazy. So 17%, it was actually 84 players were eligible bachelors. So they made a list. Jimmy, here it is. A list. Here are 84 leap year eligibles.
Wow.
And it's a guide for women. These are the guys in baseball to go after, and we'll tell you how.
It's like The Bachelor.
It's like the fucking Bachelor. They have the name, age by team. They have them name, age, hair color, eye color, and ancestry. So this guy, Chuck Estrada, is 26, brown hair, brown eyes, Spanish Italian.
Okay.
So what do we got here? Scotch English, French Canadian. Jesus, American Negro they have listed as it's 1964, so that was projected, whatever.
That's pretty fucked up.
But they have German Dutch. They have it's fucking crazy, dude. I don't even know what to say about this.
That's wild.
It's a guide of who to hunt.
Yeah. But that's fascinating, too, because you could show up to a German Dutch, right to that guy, a French Canadian, and you could be, if you're a racist young lady, you might be showing up to meet a black man. You have no fucking idea.
You have no idea.
This is crazy.
Here are the hints. This is author Herbert Simons. Here it is. You can go... I don't know what this is, but go to Camera Days, take a picture with Tony Satriano, and find a husband. I don't know what that means. Okay. Become an airline stewardess.
Yeah.
Mickey Lolich married a stewardess who lived in the same building as he did. St. Louis pitcher Bob Miller married a stewardess who worked the team flights. 3 other named players were all married to stewardesses as well. One thing, get a job at the ballpark.
Yeah.
It was especially helpful to work at Forbes Field, specifically where 2 players wed stadium employees. Become a nurse. Milwaukee Brave Joe Adcock married a hospital nurse after he broke his wrist on a pitched ball. Just get you want to marry go to school, become a nurse, and get a job at a hospital near a ballpark and hope someone gets hurt.
Hope for the best.
Hope someone cute gets hurt.
Hope for the worst.
Break a leg. Finger crossed and shit.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, God. Get a job at the team's hotel. Here's one. Become a model. Don Drysdale married a model he met when he took the team when the team took Welcome to Los Angeles photos after they moved to the city in 58.
You want to be a bride of a ball player? Be hot as fuck.
Well,
just do that.
Be chosen Miss Somebody. This one works even if you're, quote, Miss Cuban Carnival, because that's his guy there. Yeah. That's his girl. Become a ball player's relative. Terry Francona's father, Tito Francona, married the sister of a minor league teammate.
This article is ridiculous.
It's insane. Get into show business. This one was great if you ever wanted to marry Joe DiMaggio.
Right.
Also, one player married a dancer he met at a nightclub whose stage name was Patty Wagon. Okay. Have a sister who dates players.
Yeah.
This is that. Be the boss's daughter. Charlie Comiskey's daughter and Clark Griffith's nieces all married ball players. So why can't you? It's literally what it says.
You lazy bitch. Be somebody's niece.
Go be a nurse, you lazy twat. Marry a fucking ball player. Don't do it for your own.
Right.
Do it so you can meet a ball player. Then immediately stop being a nurse because you don't want to hurt your pretty little head and break a nail. This is the most fucking sexist shit ever.
It's horrible.
Then they say they're all prime marriage material, they say. But are there any drawbacks? And it says this. They are away from home half or all of 8 months each year, though wives and children usually participate in spring training sojourns in Florida, California, and Arizona, and the wife may make an occasional trip with the team during the season. Unless they are established stars, their positions often have day-to-day uncertainty, and the anxieties of slumps can cause marital concern. They are continually exposed to the adulation of other feminine fans, which can cause even greater concern.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if they're in a slump.
Yeah, they can get cut at any time and lose everything, and they'll be cheating on you the whole time while you wait for them to get cut and lose everything. So go be a nurse.
So go to school.
Go to school to marry one of these fucking idiots, not for yourself.
Unbelievable.
Wild, dude. That's fucking wild.
Become a stewardess on the team plane.
A stewardess.
And then maybe you can have your pick of whatever.
What the fuck, man?
What the shit kind of advice is this?
That was a whole article.
I mean,
the Baseball Digest was. I mean, that's
today. There are girls that go to like steakhouses and meet like rich guys, and then get them to go get like courtside seats, and then they make googly eyes at players, and then the guy that they're with realizes then that, oh, I'm not going home with you, and then they go home with like fucking whoever, Steph Curry. I know he's married, whatever.
Somebody.
Probably still with Steph Curry.
Somebody, you know what? It's still Steph Curry.
They go home with somebody that's not LeBron James.
Well, what's his name? Fucking James. Films it. What's his name there? His buddy there.
Lamar Odom?
Fucking Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Thompson films it. No, you're doing good, Steph.
Yeah, keep it up.
Keep it up.
She's all fucked out.
Let's say Send Dogs behind him. Yeah. Keep up the dick. All right, guys, I got this one. So, this is a fucking disaster.
That's a thing, though. That's fucking horrific.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It's so hard to be a person today.
They have apps where women can track where ball players are.
Really?
Like, where it'll say, like, literally it'll send it out to all the people that subscribe to the shit that'll be like, a bunch of guys from the Toronto Raptors just went to this nightclub, so you can get your fucking shoes on and rush on over there and
that's terrible.
Bag one of them. It's like, I don't know, that's weird. But then guys would do even worse.
Oh, God, yeah.
Guy would be like, there's a bunch of hot girls that holy shit, and they're rich. Imagine if they were rich, too. Right. We don't even need rich, just tits. Just tits will get in the car and drive for it. So
we don't need an app because we're just shouting it and texting it to each other anyway.
Holy shit.
All the hot girls are over at that bar.
Okay, good.
Go over there.
They all want to keep it a secret. We're like, no, swarm them. Stupid.
Annoy them.
Annoy them all. Really, make them not want to talk to anybody.
Make them annoyed with us so that they get on an app and follow basketball players.
Perfect.
That's what we do.
All right, and break.
And go.
So 1965 with the Yankees. This is, like I said, the first year of their not doing so well. They finished 77 and 85 this year, which is they haven't been that bad, and probably since World War II. I don't think so.
Since this,
and that was only because all the guys were at war.
Yeah.
So not terrific. He, on the other hand, he's 5-5 in relief here. 92 innings, has a 2.92 ERA. So pitches pretty well for them. Now he makes $25,000 this year.
Okay.
He has some problems though. In 1965, on November 5th, he's arrested. He does get arrested. He apparently. He was with a guy who had been being charged with public intoxication. Yeah. That's what was going on here. Now, he says that he was only trying to help out at the request of this man's girlfriend, who he doesn't even know these people, even though he was with them. He says, quote, I explained to the officer who was questioning the man that I wanted to help, and then the man asked a question at the request of this officer. He says, then the other officer told me to get out of here, and I tried to explain to him what I was doing, and he kept telling me, get out, and then he said I was under arrest. This was in a bar. Somebody was being arrested for public drunkenness. His story is the guy's girlfriend asked him if he spoke English, and could he talk to the cops. Basically, could he translate with the cops with this guy and explain what was going on? So he came in and he says he was like trying to translate, and the cops said, well, if you're going to be in the middle, then we'll arrest you too. That's his story. Who the fuck knows here? But he does go to court, and he is found innocent on this charge of interfering with a police officer. He's found innocent. He says he was just trying to translate.
So they backed up his story.
Well, yeah, the cops didn't know what he was saying in Spanish to the guy.
Got it.
So they said, well, what did he say to the guy? They said, well, we don't know. It was in Spanish. And they go, well, then what could he be? He could have possibly been trying to translate.
Could he have been communicating so that you could understand him?
Yeah. Either way, he wasn't listening, but it doesn't matter. So he gets out of it there. Now, 1966, he has a son. A son is born. Pedro Jr.
Yeah.
It's Pedro Jr., guys. You know it's going to be Pedro Jr. Little Pistola Pedro.
Right.
There he is.
Pistolito
Pedro.
Oh, boy.
So there he is, 66. Now he's in full blown now. He's in a fucking comic outfit with 2 guns and a kid named after himself. He's a mess now.
It's ridiculous.
So in the off season, he works days at as a public relations person for Ballantine Beers.
Really?
That's all. Ball players all had winter jobs back then because they wanted to make more money.
Sure.
And if you had a name, you could get a job as, you weren't like working in a factory.
Right.
If you were, he's a public relations guy. So he goes around.
I just got a call from Pedro. Can you believe this?
So basically,
Ramos.
he goes around to bars and parties and gives everyone free Ballantine, and that's his job.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they do that with that. I know there's a couple wrestlers that was.
That's brilliant.
Dick Murdoch was a rep for Coors, and he used to just take all the wrestlers out and fucking buy $5,000 worth of Coors for people.
Stone Cold didn't do that, he's an idiot.
Well, if they didn't do that, to them,
that's a genius move.
It is. So that's what he did. So he's hanging out there. So his job is to hang out in bars. So that's what he's doing.
It's a problem.
Yeah. Also, several nights a week, he played first base for the National Airlines softball team.
Really?
Yeah, which is weird.
For the beer league?
Yeah, for their softball team.
Employees?
They would pay him as an employee, so he'd be on their softball team. It's a ringer. That's all it was. It used to happen all the time back then. Corporations would hire guys like that.
Softball is not it's a different pitch.
He didn't pitch.
Oh.
He says, quote, no pitching, just first base.
Okay.
He said that he hits with power, and he said, quote, that Joe Pepitone had better watch it. I'm liable to take his job in Fort Lauderdale this spring. Joking around there. He also says he loves in his spare time to put on all of his cowboy outfit, get his whole gear on, drive down to the Everglades to practice with his revolvers.
Wow.
He likes to practice his shooting, apparently, which is fucking great. He says he likes to go down there, just bust shot. I guess people do that at the dumps and shit like that. So he's shooting off, I guess, like a dump style into the Everglades, which sounds scary.
It's very Joe Exotic.
He could be killing anyone down there. Then he says he likes to just get up in his gear, wear his pistols around the neighborhood. To the barber shop, he said, this is pretty sadistic. Quote, the other day I framed up a joke with the barber. When the boy was shining my shoes, I pretended to get angry. I started shooting blanks into the air. The boy ran away. He thought I was using live ammunition. He scared the shit out of a child.
You would think that.
Because he's crazy, and he literally started shooting guns in the air because he was so mad about you fucking up his shoes. And he said the kid thought, you probably scared this kid half to death.
What else reaction would
That's hilarious.
Oh, boy.
Fun, isn't it?
Oh, boy.
He's a crazy person. He says that he gets to wear his 2 most cherished uniforms, a cowboy outfit and a Yankee uniform. That's literally what he said.
He's a cowboy, never been west of the Mississippi.
Never, no. He said, quote, I've always been a Cowboy fan, not the football team, because it didn't exist when he was growing up. He said, maybe from growing up on a farm in Cuba. So when I went to the Yankees, I asked Yogi Berra, who was the manager at the time, if it was all right to wear my Western outfits to the clubhouse. He said he didn't care as long as I was neat and clean, and the other players seemed to like it. Yeah, they're like, this guy's a fucking nut. Look at him.
See this guy's dressed.
He's crazy.
Right.
He's a character. Look at this fucking crazy nut. So, Mickey Mantle talked about his penchant for carrying pistols, loaded pistols to the fucking ballpark. He said that he thought it was great. Thought it was fucking great. He said that he, quote, Pedro Ramos always carried a gun, and he and Camilo Pascal would laugh and rag on each other about who gave up the longest home runs to me. That was his thing there, but he always had a gun. So this is Mickey threatening to knock a guy down who's all he knows is always packing heat. So 66, the Yankees go 70 and 89. They stink again. He's 3-9 with a 3.61 ERA. Makes $25,000 that year. Again. But December 10th, 1966, he is traded to the Philadelphia Phillies for Joe Verbanek. And 1967 here, he goes to the Phillies, and the Phillies are not the best landing spot for him. Traditionally, they've been another club that's been thought of as a bit racist back in the day. This is their former president speaking. Okay.
Oh boy.
This is a guy named Bill Giles. He said, quote, I've always rooted for the minorities. I keep telling our scouts I want a Jewish pitcher and an Italian center fielder, just like Sandy Koufax and Joe DiMaggio.
Wow.
Super progressive, obviously. So, go find me a Jew pitcher and some fucking guinea out in the outfield. People like that shit. No fucking black guy. I didn't say that. Let's not get crazy. Jew and a guinea. Let's not get crazy here.
I root for the minorities who are very populative up here.
Yeah, it's fucking. Well, still not a lot.
No,
yeah,
and not in Philly.
Well, still in the country anyway.
Yeah.
Jewish people are like 1.5% of the population. Italian people are 5%. So
really,
a very small percentage of people here. But there, it feels like more.
Yeah.
And we're all so loud, so you can double it for that.
And they've got their own neighborhoods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got Little Italy there. It feels a little more saturated.
Well, then how many Chinese are there? There's Chinese people, because there's Chinatown too. There's lots of those. It's all over the place. So 1967 for the Phillies, they go 82 and 80, which mediocre here. This lineup, who's gone here? Anybody decent? Nobody fantastic that was worth talking about. He goes 0-0 for Philly this year.
He didn't even play?
Well, June 5th, he has
he just didn't get
8 innings.
Got it. Yeah.
8 innings he plays. And June 5th, 1967, he's released by the Phillies. Just outright release him, which is strange here. Now, he goes the 67 season without signing anywhere rest of the year. Before the 68 season, he signs as a free agent with the Pirates. 68, he's in the minors all season. I don't know what the hell's going on with him here. He has a 5.09 ERA with AAA in Columbus.
It's going bad.
It's not going great. 1969, he comes up with the Pirates, who finished 88 and 74 that year. And we're a hell of a fucking team. They had some interesting players that year. They had, of course, Bill Mazeroski. They got Willie Stargell, Roberto Clemente. This is Manny Sanguillen. This is quite Al Oliver. This is quite the fucking lineup here. A lot of heavy hitters. So, but June 5th, 1969, he's not good on June 5th. He is released by the Pirates as well. So he's having a tough fucking time here. And then June 10th, 1969, he signed with the Reds. Okay. The Reds pick him up here. The Reds that year, 89 and 73, Pete Rose is on that team, a young Johnny Bench playing catcher, Tony Perez, Alex Johnson, who's a fast son of a bitch. So that year, he ends up with the Reds. Mediocre, man. He's 5 ERA. He's getting bounced all around. October 29th, 69, he's released by the Reds as well. March 30th, 1970, he signed as a free agent by the Washington Senators. Back there again. That now it's a different franchise, but the same team. He is one of only 9 players to play for both the original Senators and the new Senators.
9 of them.
9 players, yeah. Don Mincher, Camilo Pascal, and a bunch of guys you never heard of.
Okay.
Hal Woodcheek. Ever hear of him?
Never.
No, exactly. Hector Maserati.
No.
I like that name.
That sounds
it's kind of a
made
cool
up.
name.
Yeah.
It's a real name. Hector. Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hector Maestri, not
okay.
Maserati. I misread that. I was glancing. So 1970 Senators go 70 and 92. They're managed by Ted Williams, so he gets to get managed by Ted Williams, which is amazing. But he only gets managed by Ted Williams for a very short amount of time because he's released April 27th, 1970.
Oh, Jesus.
And that is the last time he'll ever play in the majors.
It's over.
So it's a 15-year career, which
Not
is
bad.
fucking great. That's way more than most people get. So not
But
too
he didn't
shabby.
get to play for anybody. You
That's
know what I mean?
the
He
thing.
didn't get to play any great games.
Didn't get to play in a World Series.
Right.
He was on the team, but didn't get to play. By the way, that year the Yankees did vote him a half of a World Series share, though.
Oh.
So he got money because he helped get them there.
Oh, got
But
it.
he wasn't allowed to play.
You don't even get the ring.
No. Career 117 and 160 record with a 4.08 ERA. Not awful. I mean, that's a pretty decent pitcher. He doesn't hang him up, though.
No.
He wants to keep pressing forward, even though it's pretty much over. But he's only, I mean, he is not even 35 yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so he's not like he's 46 or something. He goes down and plays in the Mexican League in 1970. Down there a little bit. 1971. The Atlanta Braves give him a shot, signing him to a minor league deal, and he plays with the Richmond Braves and the Savannah Braves. And he has a 3.27 ERA down there in 77 innings. But for some reason in 72, he is right back down in the Mexican League, down there, and then he ends up. The Mets give him a shot. They sign him briefly to a minor league deal, and he plays for Tidewater for a little bit. Has a 4.06 ERA in the Mexican leagues, and with the Mets minor league, he only pitches 19 innings. So, but he has a 0.47 ERA.
That's great.
And it doesn't work out so much.
The best one yet.
I know, it's his best fucking ERA. Now, he ends up managing also when he's down at the Puebla team, I guess. Puebla, the Mexican team. He is player manager at the same time here. He goes, 72 and 65 with them. Not terrible.
Better.
Never done it before. Now, 1973 and 74, he's down playing with the Mexico City Reds. He is 10 and 13 with a 3.91 ERA and 191 innings in 74. So it's a lot of fucking innings he's getting a lot of work in. 75, he is playing for Tabasco of the Mexican League. And then also the Mexico City Reds. He goes 1-5 that year in 38 innings. And that's about it for baseball for him pitching and stuff. We move into his second part of his life now, which is cigar making. Now, as we know, he had a cigar thing going on in Cuba earlier. He's still got his cigar business, and this is when he starts to pick it up after, he's retired. He ends up coaching also a little bit in Nicaragua and in Colombia, and he's importing cigars into Miami also. So he's got this whole business going where he's making the cigars and he's importing them into Miami. And also, at this point, he's taking his major league pension, which is he's getting about $1,000 a month from that. So, he's getting by in different.
He's not crushing it.
He's not crushing, but he's doing different ventures and that sort of thing here. Like I said, he moved around a little bit from Nicaragua, Colombia, all that sort of thing. He ends up in Miami as kind of his home base. Uses Miami as his home base. He lives in Little Havana and everything. Like, he's very much into the whole Cuban community down there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, he's having that's a good after baseball life for him too. I mean, shit. Why not?
Spent a lot of time there for spring training.
Yeah, why the fuck not? Yeah. So he did say that he was interested in coaching at the big league level, or kind of maybe like helping develop pitching talent possibly, and like being like a pitching coach of some kind. But he said that he never could adjust, he said, and other people said, to being out of the spotlight. He's a guy who likes the spotlight. Yeah. He comes in his full rig.
The guy's carrying guns.
Right out in the open.
He's got bandoleros.
That's what I mean. He clearly likes to be noticed.
Yeah.
If you put a fucking giant cowboy hat on, you're asking to be noticed.
Yeah.
And boots.
Right.
Because he's tall.
Yeah.
As a tall person, it's very rare that you want to try to make yourself taller.
Right.
So
you make yourself taller, and then you put a cushion on top of that.
Yeah, then you make yourself taller. So you have heels and a hat. I'd be 7 feet fucking tall if I was a cowboy. I'd be 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
That would look ridiculous. Would I not? I would look like an asshole.
Absurd.
Like, holy shit.
Your Stetson would be Shaq's eye
That's
level.
a tall drink of water there, buddy. Holy fuck.
That's a lot of cowboy.
That's a lot of cowboy right there. So, yeah.
You can put the horse on you.
Yeah, it looks like it. I would look so silly.
On a horse, you would look ridiculous.
I would feel
With a
bad
hat
for the
and
horse.
boots.
Oh, it's this giant long thing on a horse. It would look so stupid.
Why don't you just walk?
Run alongside it, stupid. Your feet are almost
touch the ground.
Yeah, your feet are fucking 6 inches off the ground, dummy. The horse is fucking sagging. It's not good.
It's like an adult on a child's bicycle at that point. You look dumb.
One of those things at the supermarket,
Right.
just those little spaceship things that you go back and forth in.
Oh,
Stupid.
Jesus.
So at this point, he gets a divorce from his third wife. So he's 3 up, 3 down for this guy here. That's probably one of his first 1, 2, 3 innings he's had. Good for him. So September 3rd, 1978 is when his problems really, truly begin. And this is just a bad few years for old Pedro. This is what I mean. You have a guy who's like Mr. I'm friends with Nixon and, I'm fucking like Mickey Mantle and like all this real like bullshit 50s Americana crap.
Yeah. Ted Williams said insulting shit to me, and
Isn't
was
it great?
Yeah.
And I laughed.
Right.
Well, now it's a totally different thing here. September 3rd, 1978. First of all, you can't get any different than the 50s and the 70s.
Yeah.
You picture them all 50s with the Cowboys,
Right.
and then we're in the 70s with like a butterfly collar.
Yeah.
Weird.
Right.
Ugly cars with no horsepower. It's bad stuff.
Those flowers on your shirt look stupid.
Oh, very, very. So, according to this here, he is at a Miami bar, and apparently there's some sort of altercation. And in this altercation, the police come, and as they're checking him out to make sure that he's patting him down, they find a gun on him, an unregistered, unlicensed gun, and a bag of weed.
Oh, no.
So he's arrested for that, obviously. They take him on to jail. This is a Miami nightclub. You can't just be
You can't
doing
have
that.
drugs and guns together.
No, I mean, everyone did, but
Right.
you can't show the
You're not
cops.
supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. So during this, he gets very lucky on this one, though, because what they end up doing is they defer prosecution and they do a pretrial intervention program. Basically, he has to go to a fucking 30-day course, tell him not to smoke weed, and they'll drop all the charges on him. He said the gun was a mistake. I forgot I had it. They were like, sure, why not? Meanwhile,
You ever carried a fucking gun?
you know you have
you've
it.
never
yeah.
forgotten
It's
that
pretty
that's on
heavy. It's
you.
a big,
Yeah.
heavy lump. Not only that, his name is fucking Pistola Pete.
Right.
He always has a gun.
Yeah.
All they'd have to do is look up any newspaper article ever. They always talk about half the pictures of him are him pointing guns at the camera. I forgot I had a gun on me. Well, no shit, you have a gun on you. Sure, a whole fucking entire thing that you do.
I forgot.
I forgot.
Oh, that's
I mean,
incredible.
you leave the house, you grab your
Yeah,
keys.
right.
I grabbed,
I feel naked without it.
what
so
is
I
it?
just put it
I don't
on.
know. I put my jacket on.
Right.
I thought I had like extra keys in there or
Right.
something, maybe some change. Turns out 38. What?
You wouldn't listen. I've been smoking so much weed, I forgot.
I forgot. That's what it was. I put it in there and then forgot I did it. So I don't even know what the fuck's going on.
I was more worried about all this weed in my back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he gets off on that one. He's lucky. Good stuff. I mean, and he has a gun on him, whatever, and he has a little weed. Who gives a shit?
He's not hurting anybody.
He ain't hurting nobody.
He's not
at that
robbing
point.
people.
At that point, hurting no one,
Yeah.
no problems at all, hanging out in nightclubs with a little weed. Who cares? About a year goes by, though, and it gets a little bit more dicey for him because this is crazy shit. August 2nd, 1979. First of all, let's talk about Detective Raul Diaz. Detective Raul Diaz, by the way, is a Miami Police Department guy here. He's a part of the Metro. He's a Metro Police Sergeant in the Intelligence and Narcotics Squad. So one of his heroes as a boy is Pedro Ramos. Growing up,
Don't meet your heroes, Mr. Diaz.
yeah, Raul Diaz is also a Cuban, and Pedro was obviously a Cuban pitcher, and he liked his style, and he was just he idolized the guy. He said he really, really loved him. He even saw him in 1972. He knew he was making a comeback, and he had followed that, and so he really liked Pedro Ramos. Well, on August 2nd, 1979, he gets to meet old Pedro in a different kind of a way. Basically, through it's a big police investigation with intelligence and wiretaps and all this type of shit.
Sting.
Yeah, and informants. And through this, basically, let's let Diaz tell it. Quote, this is about Pedro Ramos. Quote, one of my undercover men almost shot him.
Oh, why?
That's not a good thing. He said, quote, Ramos reached inside his pants and took out a 9mm automatic and tried to conceal it under the seat of his car as the cops were coming. Mm-hmm. So they see you pull a gun out of your fucking pants. They said he almost shot him. But that's only, we'll find out how they got to that here. Well, Jesus Christ, they got a tip, basically, the police, from an informant that Ramos was part of a crew that was selling a shitload of cocaine. One of the guys he is with here is the brother. It's Ramon Antonio Alberto Cruz, is the brother of a major Miami cocaine trafficker at this point, like one of the kingpins of the city, multimillionaire, big time Scarface kind of a guy.
Jesus.
So that's who he's hanging out with. Mm-hmm. All right, away, bad deal. It's the guy's younger brother. So they get a tip saying that Ramos and these people all have a side thing going on. And they get another tip saying that Ramos was planning to deliver some cocaine hidden in a cigar box to a buyer. So this Diaz gets a squad of detectives and they stake out Ramos's house here. It's on Southwest 7th Street in Miami. He said they watched Ramos and they watched his friend there. They watched everybody do their thing. They said after about 10 minutes of this whole thing, they went to somebody's house. 2 men came outside and got into the drug dealer's brother's car, Alberto Cruz. He says, quote, this is the cop, Ramos was carrying the cigar box. It looked like a book. The label says Pedro Ramos cigars. So it's his own cigars. That's bad. So he gets
literally
out.
Got your name on the drugs.
Hi.
Yeah.
Would you like some Pedro Ramos brand cocaine?
Terrible choice.
You can't put your name on your drugs. It's just not a good thing. It's just bad.
That's not mine, is it? Is it not?
I used to wonder that back in the day, like when I was a kid, running the streets and shit, and we used to get you get dust from dudes and shit, and the dust, like everybody had their own brand packet of dust, so you had the Red Devil or the whatever the fuck.
Oh boy.
And I always used to think wouldn't you not want to fucking
don't you want this just to
put something to trace back to you, in particular? I always used to think that, I didn't want to ask the guy because I figured it would probably make me look suspicious. So
I suppose there's some
I was wondering,
involved.
Yeah.
I was wondering. Hey, just trying to keep you out of trouble, man.
Branding wise, marketing. I mean, is this
Terrible
a
idea.
smart play or what?
We're not just in the cola game at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We don't need to brand this up. Pepsi, Coke, have a different taste. We don't need the challenge. Let's just make it all do the same thing to people.
We don't need
make
the
it
challenge.
the same color. How about that?
I like it.
We're not trying to be a better brand. We're just trying to move some Coke.
Just fucking sniff it.
Right.
Sniff it.
Just trying to move some
You'll
shit.
want to dance around for a while. Don't worry about it. So this is the cops watched these people pick up Pedro from Pedro's house that they had staked out. They're like, oh, here's some people picking him up. Here he is with a cigar box, just like we were told. So the detectives follow the car for about 3 blocks and they pull it over to the side of the street and surround it. One of the officers tapped on the window, flashing the revolver, and that's when Pedro tries to take a 9mm out of his pants and put it under his seat.
Right.
This is when the cop almost shot him for that because he's taking a gun out.
Yeah.
You don't know if he's going under the seat or pointing it at you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucking clear thing.
He's going for it.
So, I mean, so anyway, they don't shoot him here, luckily. He said, quote, Ramos looked around, left the gun on the floor, and put his hands up. And then he said he had a little .22 caliber pistol in his pants pocket as well.
Oh,
so he had a 9mm in his fucking in his crotch, and he had a fucking just a .22 in his pocket here. He likes guns.
That's crazy, though.
He likes guns.
He doesn't like holsters. He just jams
doesn't
them in
matter.
elastic.
Well, nowadays it looks weird with the Western 6-shooter holsters hanging off of him. It's not good.
It's got a semi-auto fucking
over the shoulder or something. You could go underneath.
Right, underneath
the
shirt.
Right in your pants.
They got so many at this point. You can fucking strap one to your thigh if you want.
That's not fun, though. It's cool to pull a 9mm out of your crotch.
I need to pull one out of my BBD.
That's better. Pow. What's up now?
I need pubic hair hanging off the barrel.
Yeah. I love in movies when they'll have cops just put their
right in their fucking back.
In the back.
Yeah.
No.
What are you doing?
He wouldn't do that.
No.
Some detective. You're
Right.
like, he's got a holster that he would put that in.
He's got a nice leather one underneath his armpit.
Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy never had his gun in a holster
What is
one
that?
time. He had a fucking 45,
Yeah.
a giant 45 just in the back of his jeans.
And he's running down the street.
Running
chasing
back of his
people.
tight jeans.
How does
Just
those-
45 back there. What? No.
How'd that stay, Ed?
No. Not happening. So,
You ever put a fucking gun in your waistband?
It's heavy.
It falls out.
It's heavy. Well,
and try running.
yeah, run with it.
Eddie figured it out.
That's a movie. He can do it, Eddie. Eddie's a special kind of guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, the officer says, Diaz, he had a little .22 caliber pistol in his pants pocket. The cocaine in the cigar box was in 2 plastic bags. Yeah. This is not good. They weighed, they ended up finding about 2 kilos in all here.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of coke because that's not all. It's not just what he has with him. Oh yeah. They weighed, he had about 1 kilo in the car with him there and a bunch of cash and 2 guns, which all look terrible together. So then they take these people back to Ramos's house and wait while other police get a search warrant to search his house there. There, they find Ramos's brother, who's there. His brother, Julian.
Yeah.
Apparently,
He's a pitcher.
I think he's El Pitcher.
Yeah.
He's 4 years younger than Pedro here. Also there, Pedro's 14-year-old daughter.
Oh, no.
And his elderly father. And Cold Ramon is also here.
Sweet Jesus.
So Cold Ramon, 14-year-old daughter, all in the fucking house, and his brother, while the police bust in here. Julian, by the way, was like involved in the whole, like his brother there apparently was, he's also like arrested and everything.
Yeah.
So his brother wasn't an innocent bystander here, but the father and the daughter, by all, stretch the imagination, I assume didn't do anything wrong. So they search the house. When they search the house, they find 2 more kilos of cocaine.
Personal use.
That's a lot. It's personal use. Packed in a briefcase. What do you think that briefcase says on it?
Oh, Ramos cigars.
It says just initials fucking burnt into it, PR.
Burnt in.
Yeah, it's, like...
Fuck yeah.
Like...
Branded.
Yeah. PR.
That's mine.
Yep. That was in Julian's bedroom closet.
God
so
damn
he's involved also. Now, Diaz says this is the officer, says he doesn't know why or when Ramos became involved in the cocaine trade, considering as of a few years ago he was pitching.
I don't know. He's got 3 kilos in possession.
That's a lot.
He's been doing it a minute.
3, that's what I mean. 3 kilos in possession, and he's getting picked up by Kingpin's younger brothers to go distribute them. He's in deep right now.
Yeah.
This is heavy.
Much deeper than I've ever been in trafficking of narcotics.
He's not selling a gram on the corner. This is fucking hardcore here.
He's not trying to get Stephanie a little high this weekend.
This is trafficking type thing
here.
A big deal. Yeah, they said that this officer said that he's probably about 3 rungs above street level distribution here. So that's middle management basically. He wouldn't speak to reporters, Pedro there.
Smart.
He said he wouldn't give police a statement either. Pedro wouldn't. But other than the following here with the undercover who busted him said, quote, "Pedro, you screwed up." And he said, quote, "I know when I've lost a ball game." That was his quote. "I know when I've lost a ball game," which I think is fucking great. Oh, with the cocaine in the closet right next to it also, 30 caliber rifle and a 22 caliber rifle, both loaded as well.
Oh, no.
So, altogether, when they did everything and money that they had and everything, about $2 million worth of a thing here going on. His brother, Julian, is an auto mechanic and also apparently involved in the cocaine business here.
The auto mechanic is a close second gig.
It's a night gig where he's moonlighting. So they're each released on $16,000 bail, which is...
That seems low.
I guess for back then.
For Miami?
For Miami.
That seems low.
The charges, though... Pretty good. Trafficking in narcotics, which is bad. Possession of cocaine with intent to deliver it. Conspiracy to commit a felony. And carrying 2 concealed loaded weapons.
Oh, that's not good.
These are all bad.
What year is this?
This is 79.
Okay.
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
Or 80, I'm sorry. This
is 80?
Let me see, 80 or 79 or 80. 79.
Okay.
Bad stuff.
Closing in on some Reagan problems,
Well,
what I mean?
yeah, but that's
still.
actually, this is, Reagan is what you want if you're a drug dealing scumbag, organized crime person. Yeah. Reagan told the FBI to stop busting organized crime people.
Really?
Yeah. Stop busting them. They're my friends. They've given me money.
Yeah.
Literally concentrate on street level minority drug dealers. That's what he told the FBI to do.
FDA should do.
Literally clear the street corners. Don't worry about the organized crime people. Literally told them to stop worrying about organized crime.
Foot soldiers.
Yeah. Not even that. Just get me black people and put them in fucking jail.
Gross.
Yeah, that's whatever. But that's what happened.
That's terrible.
That ain't political. Look it up. That's exactly what they said. It's 35 years ago. What do you want? So, he's there. Now, the charges, like I said, 1980 comes through here. This goes through about 2 years of pretrial hearings and appeals and fighting to get shit suppressed. It's really a lot here.
And he's out on bail this time?
He's out on bail. He gets a $16,000 bail. Now, the problem is, right before there's any kind of ruling on this, he's arrested again.
Oh, for what?
Well, what ends up happening, first of all, the search of his house is ruled illegal on that last one.
Okay.
They said it was an illegal search, even though they waited for a warrant. I don't know what the technicalities of it were, but it was ruled an illegal search, and all the evidence gathered there was suppressed.
So does his brother walk?
So his brother's getting out of it, but unless there's some evidence that he was dealing, but his brother's getting out of it. Plus, that's a huge amount. That's 2/3 of the cocaine they found and 2 guns, but he still has a kilo of cocaine, money, and guns that he was.
Plenty of guns in the car.
Plenty of stuff in the car to get busted with, but that really helps him a lot in terms of like you can say you're less of a trafficker if they don't know you had 2 more kilos in the closet.
I have 1 key, not 3.
1, and I was just bringing it from one person to another. You can make up some bullshit, but if you had 2 more at your house, it's hard to be like, I was just making a delivery for a guy, just being a nice guy. So August 18th, 1980 here. He's got all this court shit going on with his major cocaine trafficking bust, which is an issue. And at this point, he decides, fuck this. I need to go out and have a good time. And he does. And on August 18th, 1980, in the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning in some Miami bar, he is arrested for threatening a bar owner with a Colt revolver.
Oh, no.
He's pointing a gun in a bar owner's face and threatening to shoot him repeatedly over some beef about something. We don't know.
It's the only gun he has left.
We don't know what it's over, too. I don't know if it's over drugs, if it's over this guy told him last call. We have no fucking idea.
Price of these limoncellos. Lemon drops.
Fucking lemon drops are out of control. Out of control.
Not drinking limoncellos in the club.
No. Either way, though, he sticks a fucking gun in the guy's face, and you can't do that, unfortunately, for Pedro. It's not allowed. I'm not surprised. You would be... you'd think you'd expect better from Pistola Pete. You know what I mean? Yeah. You'd expect less gunplay.
Figured he'd learn his lesson at least.
No, God, no.
I've got cases looming.
Yeah, he does. So this year now this is November, that's August 18th, 1980. This case is resolved on November 10th, 1980, where he pleads guilty. They drop the gun charge and the deadly weapon and all that shit, and he pleads guilty to aggravated assault, which is a felony, and you, sir, may fuck off 18 months probation.
Oh.
So he's on probation at this point. So he got some shit suppressed. He got probation for this. He is somehow skating right now.
Doing?
I don't know how, but he's keeping himself out of prison. That is until May 24th, 1981, 10:30 p.m. He is pulled over that night in Dade County. This time he is driving. He is 3 times the legal limit alcohol-wise. Highly intoxicated. Oh, by the way, what's he doing? Carrying a concealed loaded weapon as well.
Damn it.
He is a convicted felon in possession of a concealed loaded weapon as well, on top of all of that, and driving while intoxicated.
3 times. So in 80, it was like 0.24.
That's what I mean. It was you could be shit-faced. He couldn't walk, I guess, hammered, and he's got a concealed weapon, and he's a convicted felon in that, so not good at all. Let's just say that here. That violates his probation, like we said. Now, he says, this is crazy. Yeah. That was just, the last arrest was a big mistake. He says, well, you know what? Let's give them an in their own words. What do you say we do that? Let's do an in their own words. Why not? What the fuck? I think him explaining himself deserves it. In their own words, quote, "It's all a big mistake. The gun was my wife's. She left it in the glove compartment. They said I broke probation, but the gun was found after they arrested me. Something wrong was going on. I shouldn't have pled guilty. That was a mistake. The whole thing was entrapment."
So he thinks he should have fought it.
He thinks he should have fought.
Yeah.
Having a gun, a concealed loaded weapon, being a convicted felon, shit-faced driving around. I don't know what the entrapment is as far as they pulled you over for being drunk, looked through your car after they arrested you. They can search your car then.
Found the gun.
And then found your gun in it. That's pretty... I'm not like Mr. Hey, but that's pretty clear, cut and dry, black and white. I don't know.
Gave it to him.
Yeah, that's just...
He served it up being drunk.
You were shit-faced, yeah. If you were driving around, he searched you for no reason, you'd have a case. But you were arrested for being hammered. That's different. So anyway, legal shit here. He ends up pleading no contest to the concealed weapons charges. And this was after the judge had found that he violated probation for the aggravated assault. So what he ends up doing is he plea bargains, because he's got cocaine charges, what he had in the car. He ends up plea bargaining everything together. Now, all of his sentences, it's up to the judge here, but all of his sentences could total more than 30 years if they were run, fucking yeah. So that's not great. He's up for a lot of shit. The judge, though, says, you, sir, may fuck off 3 years in prison. Gives him 3.
Yeah.
So
10%,
yeah, which is a kind thing to do. It's very kind.
Kind?
It's kind.
Did he blow him too?
That's what I mean.
A sweetheart deal.
That's what I'm saying. That's a really kind, sweetheart deal. And he had a lot of his friends write letters for him and shit like that. A lot of people that are very powerful in the Cuban community in Miami, because he's big in there, wrote letters for him. A lot of people went to bat for him, try to say he was a decent guy. By the way, before he goes into prison, he does a couple of things, because he's sentenced, then he has like a little time before he goes in. First of all, he gets married, because what's the crime and sports rule? When everything is going wonderfully and splendidly and your life is fucking spinning out of control, that's when you need to attach yourself legally to another human being. Well, you know what? There's no greater time that your life is spinning out of control than when you're about to do 3 years in prison on a cocaine and weapons charge. That's out of control. And he goes, I'm making good decisions so far the last couple of years. Why don't I just keep it going by fucking marrying this lady?
Can you go 3 years, don't fuck nobody?
So, hey.
Let's be together.
I think he probably did it, too, because I think you can get conjugals, and that's why a lot of prisoners want to get married.
Kind of smart, I guess. So you can have sex?
Yeah, you can end up having sex.
That's wild.
Eventually, in a gross trailer where other prisoners have had sex. It's gross. So... that he gets married. He tries to get his wife settled before he goes into prison. Like, hey, which is a weird newlywed ritual. Hi, we're going to move into a house. Let's get it furnished and everything so you're nice and comfortable, and then I'll see you in 3 years. I'm going to prison. Have a good one.
Enjoy that stuff.
Enjoy.
What I just did.
Fuck it. He's got a little bit of cash, though. He can afford to make the place nice, because he's, I guess, been selling cocaine here.
A lot of it.
And so he actually does... he is here with this girlfriend trying to get this house set up, and he calls a guy he doesn't know. He never heard of him or anything, but the guy comes over, and it's Dexter Manley, interior decorator from New York City, and he says... How is it you've come to arrive here? Seriously, look at you. Oh my God, you're dressed like a fucking cowboy. You're dressed like, I don't even know, like Howdy Doody or something. You're like a human Cuban Howdy Doody. You're white trash, sir. I'm sorry. You're white trash. I don't care where you're born, where you're from. What you are white trash. You're walking around with 2 pistols. What are you doing? Why? What is that? What is that? Just 2? One's not enough for you? It's like, just in case, I'll just carry this around too. Like, what, you blame it on your wife? What are you doing? I'm disappointed is what I'm getting at right now. I think that even people in a like a filthy Cuban tobacco farm, all dirty and tobacco stuff all over their faces, they'd be like, look at him, what a fucking loser. That's all I'm saying. You're a loser, and I'm ashamed of you. That's it. I gotta go now. Poof. And in a poof of glitter and boas, he's gone. And Pedro's very confused. He's looking for his gun currently to obviously thwart the threat here. Because
I'm surprised didn't call him Cowboy. Hey, Cowboy.
Hi, Cowboy.
With him.
It's a tall drink of water there. You're a tall drink of water, sir.
Like a pitcher and a catcher in the
Ooh. So, March 15th, 1982, he's in prison, hanging out in prison for a while.
Yeah.
He says, quote, they got rules in here. No shit.
A lot of them.
He said it's kind of like spring training.
Is it?
Wow, okay. That's one way to look at it here. Yeah, he says he could get out as soon as November 1983 with good behavior, and he could get released even sooner if he can get a guaranteed job. He said, quote, sure, people will say I've got a record, but I won't make any more mistakes. They see what I did in 1979 and 1980, but what about the other 44 years of my life? Why didn't OJ say that? You see what I did in 1994, but what about the rest of it? I ran for 2,000 fucking yards.
Ask Leslie Nielsen.
Come on. I'm great. I'm Nordberg. What the fuck? Do they judge my whole life on 2 years? He says, quote, I think I deserve another chance. I know I deserve another chance for me and my wife. I could work with kids, tell them how to avoid this kind of life, to get them out of here. This is my dream, to get my life straight. In baseball, I learned, in Russia, in baseball, I learned you get another chance. When I was a rookie, I was going so bad, I asked the manager, Charlie Dressen, what can I do? He says, Pete, you might as well keep pitching because you can't go any worse than you're going right now. That's how I feel now. I keep going. I threw a lot of homers in the big league, but I keep pitching. I lasted 15 years. I couldn't be 2 horse feathers. 1 year, horse shit. You can't say shit in the paper.
Oh,
horse shit is any kind of baseball. You suck at baseball. They call it horse shit. So horse feathers.
Horse feathers.
That's the press version of that.
All right. So wait. I've never seen those.
Yeah, that's why. 1 year I threw 43 homers, but then they gave me a uniform the next year. This time I came into the wrong game at the wrong time. Now I'm in the wrong ballpark. I would say I'd rather be in Yankee Stadium. You're in prison. Yeah. That's what I would call the wrong ballpark.
Stop with the metaphors.
Wow. Talk about wrong church and wrong pew. You're all fucked up, sir. He says, quote, really, I don't want to talk too much about this situation. Well, you keep doing it, talking about his cocaine and all that sort of thing. He said he goes back and forth, basically. He says that the cocaine deal was a one-shot deal. That's what I told you. He said, just bringing it from one guy to another. Yeah. I don't even know what I was doing. I'm just doing it. A guy said, you do this favor, you make this much money, whatever.
One last score.
Yeah. One last thing. This contradicts the testimony of the Miami drug agents who said that he was actively involved in the cocaine business. Right. He says, though, quote, I was doing a favor for a friend. I was guilty because they got on to me. But deep down inside, I know I should not be here. He said, I know exactly what happened, but you just can't say. He's saying because they asked him, well, what was going on with the cocaine? He said, I just can't say. He says he motioned slitting his throat, and he said, quote, you can't talk.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm in here shutting the fuck up because I could have gotten off if I told on some crazy giant drug dealer, but obviously I'd be dead. So.
I was doing a favor for my friend, an enormous drug kingpin.
Those people, who will kill you in a second. He says, quote, I'm embarrassed that it happened to me after a long time with a clean life. What happens to me now? Yes, I'm sorry and I'm not proud. I just keep hoping the time goes by quick. He said, I know I shouldn't be here. I know I shouldn't have lost my freedom, no matter what the police say. I know I've made a few mistakes in the last couple years, but what about the rest of my life? He says, it was a different Pedro Ramos. They arrested me for cocaine, but I don't even know what that stuff looks like. Look in your closet and in your cigar box with shit with your name on it for 3 kilos of it. That's a lot. You can learn what it looks like by 3 kilos. That's a good crash course in cocaine. 3 kilos. Holy shit, that's a lot.
It's very heavy.
Don't even know what that stuff looks like. I don't remember if I have a gun on me. Wow. I still don't know if the stuff they found in my car was real. Well, considering you got it from a major kingpin, I would say it probably is.
Considering you're in jail for the next 3 years, super real.
And where you got it also. I'm going to go with probably pretty real. Right. I know I'm in here now, and that makes me a convict, but I shouldn't be in here. No one should. I simply asked a friend for a ride. Now he's saying that they watched him come out of the fucking house with a Pedro Ramos cigar box with a kilo of cocaine in it. And he says, I just asked for a ride, and that was in there.
I shouldn't be here. No one should?
Yeah, no one should.
A lot of people should.
Well, yeah, there's murderers and shit in there. That's a real Richard Pryor joke. Do you remember that joke?
No.
Richard Pryor had a thing where he said, man, for years, man, he goes, I thought about it. He goes, prison. He's like, man, he's just talking about like black people. He goes, thought about like my brothers and sisters that got to go to prison and all this shit. And I'm like, this shit is wrong. And this shit's fucked up and all this shit. And it's wrong. We got to free all these people. And then he goes, and then I went to a prison and I was like, there's murderers in here. There are real life fucking murderers in here. We need to keep these people the fuck inside. Like he was like, change my mind. He goes, there's people that actually killed motherfuckers in here. This is a different story. This isn't like, I fucking stole $5. Right. There are murderers here.
There's not dudes in there with a nickel bag of weed. There is probably.
There are.
Right.
But there's also murderers. Because we need to keep those motherfuckers in here. So yeah, there's a lot of people who shouldn't be in there at all.
Let's keep these open.
There's a few that we could use that we need them for. We need to keep them. Yeah, dangerous people. Listen to Small Town Murder
every week.
You want those people out? No. Any of our people there? So I asked my friend for a ride. I don't know why the police would want to be after me. The whole thing was a trap. Maybe someone was jealous. They said I was a dealer. If I was involved in cocaine, I'd like to know where my money is. I have nothing. Well, that's because you didn't do shit.
It was in coke.
Yeah, it's all wrapped up in all that 3 kilos of coke. You had $2 million in your house, actually. That's where your money is.
You are what we like to call cocaine poor.
Yeah. Well, no, he's cash poor, coke rich.
Right, that's what it is.
He's coke rich, cash poor. That's the problem. Yeah.
You're coke rich.
What you have right now is equity.
Right.
Is what you need to turn that equity into cash.
3 kilos
you have
worth.
3 kilos worth of equity. Yeah, it's a lot. So he says, quote, I feel like I've been punished enough already. This place is no place to be. I made one mistake and I'm paying for it. The key, and that his lawyer says, quote, the key issue here is that there's great potential for rehabilitation. He says, in parole situation, you are always considering the background of a person. On the concealed firearms charge, people just don't understand. In Minneapolis, you don't have the same situation that you have here in Miami. If you go out on the street at night, you are risking your life here. If I don't carry the U.S. Marine arsenal in my car, I don't feel safe. That's his lawyer talking. Pedro's friends can help him now by contacting the parole commission. He made a mistake. That's all. So, yeah.
In Miami, you got to have...
Well, Miami 1980, that was like...
SEAL Team 6?
That's when there was like, when drug gangs were having machine gun wars in malls in broad daylight.
Don
Remember
Johnson
that kind
had
of shit?
a TV show because of it.
Yeah, well, they watch Cocaine Cowboys, and it's like, whoa, there was some serious violence going on in the streets.
But you need...
Most of the time, though, it wouldn't have mattered what you are, because it's drug dealers shooting at drug dealers.
Right.
If you happen to be in the way, you're not going to whip out your gun and shoot them. 5 drug dealers with machine guns.
Unless you've got 3 kilos in your trunk.
Yeah, unless you have 2 guns.
Right.
He said, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm all fucked out and I'm not going to take it anymore. Bucking shots up. So he says that the only thing that helps him get through the week is this phone calls to his wife, Teresita, who works in Miami. So they were married by the same judge who sentenced him. So that's nice.
That's no good at all.
What the fuck is that? Congratulations, sir. Now 3 years in prison. Enjoy.
The judge that sentenced the guy in Manitowoc married my sister.
There you go.
So she watched that documentary and was like, that guy sucks.
That guy.
He ruined my life, too.
Damn it.
He let me get married
up.
to an asshole.
Don't blame him.
It's funny.
Like it's his fault. Oh, God. So he says Teresita visits every Sunday from 8:30 to 3:30. They sit at picnic tables, and it's really hot because it's outside in the Florida sun in Miami.
Right.
He says, quote, it is inhuman, but those are the rules. I love Teresita very much. It can drive you mad. They punish a woman as well as a man. So he serves as recreation supervisor in prison, pitching underhanded in the softball games and looking ahead to weekends when he can play again here and play softball and all that shit. He dreams of working for a major league team. Well, I would dream of getting out of prison for now. He said that might be hard. He said, quote, some people will say I've got a record, but I won't make any more mistakes. I promise.
They're called people with public records.
They're called, people that read newspapers and stuff like that. those people. But, he says, I think I deserve another chance. I know I deserve another chance for me and my wife. I could work with kids, tell them how to avoid this kind of stuff, to get out of here. This is my dream, to get my life straight. Then he says, quote, where is this here? That's how I feel now. I keep going. I threw a lot of homers, but I can keep going. He said, this time I came into the wrong game at the wrong time. Now I'm in the wrong ballpark, and I'd rather be at Yankee Stadium, like he said before. So that's his line that he has here. So November 1982, by the way, when he's in jail, they make a big deal out of the fact that he wears a Yankee hat that they made him take the NY logo off of because it's too divisive to have any kind of team. So he just has a blank Yankee hat on.
It's an ugly hat.
It's just a blue hat.
Just a blue hat.
So November 1982, he's allowed to leave prison to participate in a Cuban Old Timers Day baseball game in Miami.
There you go.
They let him out for that. And he's allowed to wear his uniform. He wears his old Yankee uniform for that. And they all tell him he looks like Cuban Joe DiMaggio because his hair is all gray now. That's what DiMaggio, in the end of when he come back for Old Timers Days, he had the gray hair.
That's not good.
All that shit here. So, he does that. He talks to kids. So, here's some kid place facility manager. He says, quote, he's one hell of a guy. He's been a leader of our program and talking to kids about what it's like in prison. He's excellent with young people, particularly all the Latin kids we have in this area. I think Pedro has learned his lesson and would be an asset to any baseball organization. If anybody has questions, they can ask me about him.
Because I met him once.
I met him one time and I'll vouch for him. That's it. Now, his kids, he says that I tell kids they should stay away from that bad stuff like drugs. I know that now. He says he has a 16-year-old son that he says is even faster than he ever was. Yeah. And he says he misses his daughter, who is Zaida, who was named after the carnival queen there.
Right.
And this woman, she postponed her wedding until her father can escort her down the aisle.
Really?
She was scheduled to get married there, yeah. He says, quote, I'm only 47. I still have enough life in me to come back, but jail is just so terrible. It's especially terrible for a guy like me who led the life I led. It's nothing here. You're just breathing. You're just a number. 3900330. I used to be 14 with the Yankees.
It's a little longer.
It's a little longer of a less hard. It doesn't fit on a jersey so easy. Now, I mean, obviously, you feel bad for his kids and his wife and all this type of shit. I mean, she knew he was going to prison. She didn't have to marry him right then, Teresito. But I mean, a lot of people look up to him and all this type of shit, and now they got nothing. I mean, I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
All these people, but not nearly as bad as I feel for the 800 million Pedro Ramos in the world. I just had to pick some that were sounded fancy. So Pedro Ramos, Chief Executive Officer at Somar Capital Management in New York City. CEO. Pedro Ramos, CAPEX, Financial Strategy and Planning and Corporate Finance in Los Angeles. Pedro Ramos, Group Human Resources Director at Air Portugal in Lisbon.
It's the only guy so far that doesn't have Coke.
Yes, that's it. Pedro Ramos, President and CEO of the Philadelphia Foundation.
Yeah.
Pedro Ramos, Exhibit Manager at Sands Expo in Vegas. And Pedro Ramos, Logistics Service Engineer at Microsoft in Raleigh-Durham.
Yeah.
So he is let out of prison in 1983.
Okay.
There's some work release that he has. He's kind of in and out a little bit. They kind of bring him in. He says at one point they let him go to the doctor unsupervised.
Nice.
He was allowed to just take the bus to the doctor to see if he would come back. I guess it's a good way to test to see if it's good for parole or not. If we're going to let him out anyway, let's see if he comes back.
We know how long it'll take to get from here to there.
Yeah.
Just check on him.
He said it was exciting.
Yeah.
He said it was nervous, and he was like, he felt like it was his first bus ride coming from Key West to Tennessee or Texas, what he thought. So, yeah, he ends up finding a job with Francisco Fialo, who's a friend of his, who runs the Fialo Detective Agency and Security Burglar Alarm System here. Ramos takes telephone calls and operates the office when agents are in the fields. He also says, quote, I still have my old cigar business, but I'd rather work in baseball. I'd be a scout or a minor league manager, probably.
Oh, my God, he's a receptionist.
That's what he wants to do, basically, yeah. Now, 1987, he's back in baseball. He's hired by the Dade Center. It's basically he's to work with kids.
Right.
It's the coach's name is Steve Hertz. He says, I've known Steve Hertz for a long time. He told me he needed someone to help with the pitchers, and I was available and willing to help out. I've been looking forward to getting into coaching for a long time. Hopefully I can develop our young pitchers. So they talked to him. He says, quote, pitching is really 75% of the game. My first coach used to tell me that there were 50,000 people in the ballpark, and all of them had their eyes on the pitcher for the majority of the time. He used to tell me, here's the ball. Think about what you're going to do with it before you throw it, because once you let it go, you have no control over it.
Yeah.
Duh.
That's pretty...
You can't go get it and bring it back.
Who the fuck is he?
That's Charlie Dressen. That's the old manager of the
says shit like
Senators.
That?
He said that, apparently. Jesus. Not too shabby here. But this guy who runs it said that we are very fortunate to have Pedro Ramos on our staff. 15 years in the major leagues is something you can't overlook. His experience in this game will be an advantage to our pitchers. Yeah, okay. He's also in business. He began in the 80s producing a brand of Honduran cigars in a small factory at Esteli, which is in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
It's their third largest city. He is part owner and on-duty quality control supervisor.
Really?
So he's running a fucking cigar factory here. The marketing of the cigars is under the label of Don Pedro Ramos brand. which is pretty fucking funny. I don't know if they still make them or not. A bunch of cigar magazines said that he had a problem there as well with the cigars. A main point of distribution was a tobacco shop in Little Havana. And apparently the cigar business didn't go well for him. He kept having these cigar businesses that kept kind of falling out. And he's had like 4 different ones so far.
Well, that fucking industry is so saturated. It's hard to get cigars to work.
I mean, back then it wasn't really saturated, but it's still...
You make cheap ones that you can split open and put weed in them.
That's what I'm saying. That's what sells. Otherwise, it's really hard to get into that business. Yeah. It's not a real open business. No. So one guy here in the 1990s, they talked about... this was an online journalist for smokemag.com. Jesus. He wrote that he toured the Nicaraguan factory in the late 90s with Pedro here, and he said that Ramos was still packing a pistol on his hip around the factory, and not only that, they said that he would whip it out and do shit like that and for no reason. He said it was largely empty on the day of the visit, but, quote, of course, Ramos spent a good portion of our visit waving around the pistol he wears on his hip and telling stories about the people he has shot on a dare.
How many people has he shot?
Who knows? A shitload of them, apparently, on a dare. Because he's in South America now, and if you're a business owner in some of these countries, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. You know what I mean? Who knows what he's doing.
That's horrifying.
That's what's...
Brandishing a weapon is ballsy enough, just to have it. You know what I mean? That says you mean business.
Well, yeah.
You don't need to pull it.
No, and especially, like, if you're in 1980 in Miami hanging out with a major distributor's brother with a kilo of coke and a cigar box and 2 fucking guns on you, you were willing to use those fucking guns.
We know you mean business.
That's why you're wearing them. Right. So, I mean, a lot of those guys would shoot people all the time. We have no idea how deep he was in all that shit. He was just, I don't know, I'm so innocent. But we have no fucking clue.
What's cocaine?
Yeah, I don't even know what it looks like. That he says that this writer says he didn't hang around long for the boasting session that he was doing because it was just fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So the picture though that he got was Ramos with a cigar in his mouth, a box of Don Pedros in his hand, and a pistol in a holster on his hip.
It's just ridiculous.
Because he's fucking crazy. Now, 2016, he goes to Cuba for the first time since 1960. He goes back. He had not been back to Cuba since Castro took over.
Is it open now by this point?
Well, you can. In 2016, 2012, I want to say, we opened it so you can go there and you can like visit there.
Right.
And now I know they wanted to close it back up again because never mind.
Because it's political.
Yes.
The embargo's lifted in 2016.
Yeah, but they're still it's so complicated now because it's
Got it.
Now he goes there and he said that he gets to be reunited with his memories. He says that none of his relatives are alive that live there or anything like that, but he just wanted to see where he was from and all that. He said, quote, I wanted to see my people and my land. No matter the years you live away from it, one always yearns for the place where he was born. He does that. And now a friend of his said earlier this year in 2020, quote, he lives in Nicaragua at least for the last 10 years. Pedro visits Miami once in a while. We get together and tell many stories. That's the other pitcher, Pascual, from back in the day there. So that's what he's doing now. Cigars and guns, and he's the same exact fucking guy.
Hasn't changed.
Can't get enough? Well, I can't. I want this guy. He's like 85 years old now. He, you can get an autographed baseball. There's a ton of them on there. I found one. Basically, it's like $79 is kind of the average price you can get one of his.
Pretty great.
There was one like that was just, it said Washington Senators, whatever year. That was like $50. I don't know. But you can get a bunch of Pedro Ramos stuff.
Yeah.
Balls. Try to find his cigars. I don't know. Maybe there's some Don Pedros around somewhere.
If he's still running a shop or a factory.
And he was 10 years ago. Who knows what the hell's going on? So Don Pedro's cigar, we don't know. But that, my friends, is Pedro Ramos. And I got to say, a fucking hell of a tale.
Yeah.
That's a wild story.
It's all fucked out.
It's all fucked out. I'm all fucked out after that. That was a lot to go from fucking 55 to goddamn now is a lot. That's just a lot of ground to cover. So hope you enjoyed that one. Jesus Christ, really do. If you did, I just thank you guys. I don't want to say thank us. We should thank you guys. Thank you for everything you've done for us for the last 4 years. Like I said, this week is kind of the 400th episode of our show was together.
Right.
And we're just so thankful for you guys, honestly, to you guys for helping us make it this far.
I can't believe that's that many.
It doesn't seem like it, so it's crazy. But thank you guys so much for all of that you've done for us and everything like that. Apple Podcasts review, give us 5 stars. It helps. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com. All sorts of merchandise, new stuff up as we speak right now. Tickets to live shows are also up there. It looks like they're going to take place in 2021.
It sounds like
at some point, yeah. So get your tickets and you'll have them when the shows actually occur. Follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. If you want to be a Patreon, a supporter of the show, a patron, you can do that very easily over at patreon.com/crime and sports. And what you get for that is you get Jimmy butchering your name. That's one thing. And then you also get access to all of our bonus stuff. And there's so much bonus stuff. Last week's bonus that we did was incredible. It was the Fritz Peterson, Mike Kekich, life swap.
It's real.
And it's real. Yeah, Jimmy's whole thing. How many times did you go, is this real?
It's real life.
This is real life.
It's crazy.
2 Yankee teammates traded lives and wives and dogs and cars and kids and plants and everything. They just switched houses. It was fucking weird as shit.
You take my pool, I'll take yours.
It's very strange. Yeah, watch out the temperature gauge on that. It's a little broken. You got to watch out. Keep the thermostat up perfect, or else
there's some air leakage in the house.
You know how it goes. It's fine.
Your bill will go through the roof.
It's all right, though. Get the double panes. You'll be okay. I never got around to it. I apologize.
But your house has them, so thank you for that.
Thank you for that, though. It's very nicely done. Very well appointed. So we have that. Also, you get access to even all the Small Town Murder bonus stuff, and most of the time they're not even murder episodes. They're like the prisoner dating game, the violent felon edition we have, and among other things. This week we actually did a little mini murder case, and so all sorts of stuff, though. Pretty much you get about 4 bonus shows a month, if not a couple more than that, but at least 4. So thank you for everything you do there. Patreon.com/crime and sports.
That's for the $5 and above level.
That's for the $5 and above level. Very good, Jimmy. And also with that, if you just want to be a spectacular person, just want to be a person whose karma is fucking clicking up and up and up, you can do that. You just be nice. That's also possible to do. You can do that over at PayPal. We will help you cleanse your karma. Go over to PayPal, use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com, and that doesn't get you access to the bonus material, but it does get you a shout out, and it does get you our undying love and admiration. So much love and admiration. With that said, I think it's time to give some love and admiration to people. I'm going to give it, Jimmy, I just have to start over. Give it to them so good that by the end of it, they're just all fucked out. Let's do it, Jimmy. Hit me with those names right now.
This week's executive producers are Yi Ha, Jackie Sukup, Paul Ruest, Carol Buonanno, Kevin Spilker, Kelly Mack, Tara Schaefer, Merle Carter, Liam Smith, John Sorensen, Joe Dempsey, Brian Close, Eric Whitlow, Crystal Emerson, Fabrizzo the Dude, Alex Hall, Nathan Holt, Sandy Tringali, Leslie McKittrick, Randy Jordan, Adam Carpenter, Amanda Nichols, Samuel Lee. Hang in there, man. The man had a fucking hell of a story. Keep going. I hope we get to meet you one day. Happy birthday, Charisma. She's 40. Jessica Adams, Zach Schaub, Regina Mont Lewis, Jordan Bennett, Christiane Castaldi, and Shannon Russell.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
I actually have one here that I have to do. It's a guy named Nick Palmieri, and he sent us a message saying that he didn't know if he had heard his shout out, or maybe he missed it or whatever. So Sarah explained to him that it's possible that it was missed, but more than likely, since you have an Italian last name, you just don't recognize your new last name that Jimmy gave you that is nothing like your old last name.
Daniel Palmero.
Exactly. So Nick Palmieri, Patreon guy. Thank you, Nick.
George Banfield's son turned 16. His name is Patrick. It might be an Irish Patrick.
Oh, maybe. I think Patrick is Irish.
Is it? You're
right. I think it's probably the most Irish name.
Unless it's Patrick.
Patrick would be
Pedraic, maybe.
I don't know. Thank you.
He's 16.
Well, happy birthday.
Jackie Boy Roberts, Tiana Jordan, Kevin would know last name, Hannah would know last name, Boston Van Landingham Gore, Nope.
Wow, that sounds fancy.
Yep. Tavia Buck, or is that Tanya? Not. What have I done? Mark Gruber, Michael Scholes, Aaron Angel, Nathan C., Callie Dixon, Christian Binns, Tara Hedges, Tyler LaForge, Nancy Leeds. That's Leeds. Sorry. Naima Shea, Danielle Teaver, Jesse Valdovinos. Maybe no NZB Labs, is that is what that is. Kyle Alcoin, Nick. God damn it. Nick would know last name. Sarah Carroll, Charlie, that's Charlie. Sherry Coleman, John Cornwell, Vern Coffey, Dairy Public Radio. They're a podcast, I guess.
Cool.
It's a Stephen King podcast.
Cool.
That's what that is.
That's neat.
Dairy, like back east. Fucking
DE.
Yeah, you got
not
it.
Cow, not from a
You're
cow.
on board.
Yeah.
Siobhan Paymeyer, JC, Rob Holdberg, Megan Thompson, Jacinda Shabbat Moose, Sarah Wagner, is that what I think that is? Annie M. Nikki would know last name. Alexis Stubler, William Morris, like the agency, Emily Franz, Tanisha Reyes, Andrea LaBouffe, Lauren Lewicki, Jamaica Meekum, Catherine Schubert, Christy Morrison, Mastro Michaels, McAllis,
hey,
Casey Trentman, Rebecca Hayslett, Andrew Hesh, Joe Peake, John Rudy, that's Jeffrey Smith, Nathaniel Russell, Mikkel Glidden, Michael maybe, Jared Hall, Michael Spears, Chris would know last name, Elizabeth Smith, Sam Bither, Jan Olin, Moral Nielsen, probably not. Jennifer Barna, Carrie Shaka, Sachatella?
See?
Yeah. Paul Smith, that's easy. Zach Newell Welch, Jessica Hodges, Kathy Louise Zeller, Brett Kittle, Lynn Van Hoos, Daisy Valle, one
of those.
Lisa Schultz, Carly Ambrosano. See, it's the Italian stuff.
It really gets you, man.
Her daughter beat cancer, by the way. It's fucking amazing.
Congrats.
Lance
amazing.
Howard, Jamie Casper, Andrew Guider, Enrique Andrade, Carolyn Phillips, Amanda Weiss, Lindy Trofeter, Shemi H., Catherine Roberts, Garrett England, like Robert, Katie Oatley, Shane Clamner, Kasauri Merzouz. No, what is that? Kasauri. That's not right either. And then Carla Clark is turning, I don't know how old it's her birthday. Happy birthday. Jesus.
I don't know.
Fuck.
Happy birthday.
Laura Hansen, Monica Hamlet, Zach Hartley, Sam Azaro, Jordan Troop, Lauren McAdder, Sean Carr, Alina Lorenz, Jamie Marshall, Danielle with no last name, Tanita Brooks, Lauren Bedrosian, Big Will 25, can't fuck that up. Jimmy St. Jean, Aber K-Cam, Maureen Montgomery, Nicole Curtis, Heather with no last name, Hillary Blau, Troy, nope, that's T-Roy Weekly, Adam Kofnevek, probably not, Timothy Miller, Timothy, thanks. Kendall Mileski, Tom with no last name, Jacob LeBlanc, Nastico, James Murdoch, Sarah Shaw, Lindsay McGee, Jackie Taneski, Felicia Markley, Aristri, she's French Canadian. I'm sorry. Taylor Cody would know. Well, that is their last name. Lisa Schmidt, Wes Casewell. I don't know. Adam Steele, Walter Seaford, Courtney Jackie, Lainey Olson, Lines by Bernie, Nicole Schobel, Patty with no last name, Combs with no last name, Greg Nesbitt, Greg Felton, I think, Jessica Fernandez, Chelsea Steele, Sarah K. Hamilton, Chris Drinkwater, Christy and Ray, Pete Marion, Arabella Caldwell, Adnerb. I don't know, man. Jason Walker,
spinning out.
Jennifer,
you got this, Jimmy.
Chantrell Bars, that sounds like a rapper. Antonio Frio, Sheila Dirk, Katie Embry, Brianna Pugsley, Carrie L. Hasten Pat. Anita Cockapinny? What? I don't know, man. Abe Haddad, Carl Jones, Candy Wilson, Quinn with no last name, Ricardo Saldana, Rebecca Zimmerman, Nicole Oldadak, Jonathan, no, it's Nathan Jammer, Caitlin Cipriano, yep, Quinn Curtis, Cat with no last name, James Shanigan, nope, Shaniger, Corey Balderson, Mindy Benton, Ryan Cox, Finnis Hall, Hill, shit, John Jacobs, nope, Jackson, Ashley Rezan, Curtis Shuey, nope, Christian Yuri, I think, Jamie Nicole, that's what that is, Jack Altimus, Andrea Martinez, Stacy Hambry, Brian with no last name, Kendra Newendora, Keisha Blocker, Michael Barrios, I think, Megan Bellin, Ginny with no last name, Eddie Sanchez, Ben Hoffman.
Megan, I know that word.
That's an easy one. Scott Barbic, Sarah with no last name, Chris Lemons, Allison Postma, Ethel Nzambi, Thomas Smith, Taylor Phillips, it's Mitt, YOLO for Jesus. That's pretty easy. Scott Music, James Arana, Sean Hartley, Eric Castillo, Ashley Blanton, Christina, nope, that's Christy Stutz, Nicole Sitta, Aaron Burke, Jennifer Visconti, Antonio McDomick, God damn it, Darcy Standifer, Jill Knapp, Thomas Crows, Evan Schneider, Liz Vasquez, Peyton Meadows, Tori Backer, Johnny Price, Tinas and Angus, Carl Nagurski, Mandy Knight, James Martyr, Sabrina Lupo, Ashley Bale, Reagan Heaton, Stephanie, nope, that's Steven Timberlake, sorry man, Jason Fuller, Zoe McGeechan, Courtney Petty, Holly Connors, Nicholas Barna, Candace Roop, I don't know if that's a D or a P. Rick Walls, Melissa Turner, Dylan Parsons, Rob East, Rock Hard Banana Hammock 74.
Wow.
You appreciate that.
That's quite the
Courtney DeCorp wrote us a nice email. Thank you. Shannon Hagan. That's my cousin.
Hey.
Jesus Christ. Shannon,
Thanks,
stop
Shannon.
that. Thank you, Rice. No, Ross. I wrote Rice. His name's Ross. He helped me build a computer. Thank you, Ross. Jason Barron, Isabel Gutierrez, Elizabeth Spearman, Donald Gorman, Leroy Jenkins, Sad Thor Blake, Alexandra Macias. Shit. Brian Yoke, Tyrone Bliss, DeAndre Brinson, Shaban McClatchy, Cam Bartkus, Heather Ramsey, Kinsey Wells, is that Nels? It might be Nels. Shit. John Joseph, Janice Hill, David Guisto, Sam Jellin, Jacob Burton, Homestretch, damn it. Howard Soward, Holland, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not Howard.
Howard Soward.
I'm really sorry. Alec Bourne, Zorn, although change your name. Howard Soward is so much cooler.
That's pretty cool.
It's probably a woman, though. Zachary Hagan, Dominique Balsoma, Robin Anderson, Taylor Seaman. It's her mother, by the way, whose birthday it is. Mark Schaefer, Matthew McCarthy.
Thank you, Mama Seaman.
Francesca Rivera Diaz. I think it was Clark. I don't remember.
Okay.
God damn it. Joanne Ahern, Danielle Perry and Aaron Rulker, Laura Emer. I don't know what I did to your name. I apologize. Daniel Mark, Nicole Quintiliana, Selena Sayatovich, Saitanovich.
Oh,
yeah,
fancy.
No, I did it terribly.
No, you ruined it.
Juliana Colley, Travis Marshall, Ryan Rainieri. Nope. Jeremy Woodward, Jude Kendall, Carl Kirshner, Ashley Vio, Allison Harax, and Reagan Shockley. You guys really change our lives. Thank you to all of our patron supporters.
Thank you, everyone, so much from the bottom of our hearts.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's really unbelievable. Thank you.
It's incredible. Thank you for what you do on Patreon, obviously, and everything. And like we said earlier, just when you tell your friends about the show, when you share it on social media, when you do whatever, it helps so much. Because growing the show is really our main goal here. We always love to grow the show. So that's what we want to do. Grow the show, have more people hopefully enjoy it or hate it, whatever. Right. It's not really our fucking problem. No. We just put it out. You do with it you do with it what you want, I guess, is the best way to put it. But yeah, thank you guys for everything. Thank you for great 400 episodes. Yeah. That's fucking amazing. You've kept us afloat forever. What if these people wanted to keep you afloat, Jimmy? How could they get a hold of you?
You can find me where you found me for the last 4 years.
Yes.
At Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks. You know where and where you.
I am at Jimmy P is Funny. Or you can just copy and paste my name from the show description, even though for 400 episodes. You'd think you'd know how to spell it by now, but who knows? It's there. But thank you, honestly, for everything you guys do for us. We just can't tell you how appreciative we are for everything, for your love and support. Thank you so fucking much. Or if you just hate us but like to laugh.
I like that too.
That's fine too. If you just want to watch the show but personally despise us, or want to listen to the show but personally despise us, cool.
I'll high-five you for it.
Thanks for listening to the show anyway. With that said, everybody, we'll keep coming back week after week. You can't stop us live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.